Hi everyone, Raphael Harry here, and you're listening to White Label American, a podcast where we hear stories from an immigrant or two, sometimes more. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. All right, welcome to a brand new episode of White Label American. And this, depending on when you listen to this or what side of the fence you're on, if you're a freeloader, that means you get this in 2023. But if you're one of those who love supporting the Black creative, you're not like that. What's his name again? George Santos, the guy from Long Island, who we don't even know if that's his real name or not. But if you're not like that guy, and you've been giving money to this podcast, then yeah, you get this episode in 2022. So the message is keep supporting Black creatives and Black podcasts and give us the money, even if it's up to 100 million, we'll take it. We'll put it to good use. So yeah, I'm a Black capitalist. It's different from capitalist. So with that being said, we appreciate everyone who's been supporting this podcast. If you're brand new to this podcast, hey, we still love you. Go give us 5 stars. You don't want Santa Claus to put St. Nicholas, whichever one you believe in. You don't want them to give you a call. So do the right thing. There's no other thing to do. 5 stars, write an awesome review. Even if you hate us, still give us 5 stars. And you have great dreams. And then you can go hit somebody else. So with that being said, I have a great panel today. And, we're at the end of 2022. It's been a wonderful year. So many wonderful things happened. So, well, what way to end up the year? We got to talk about the year. What's the year like for you? But enough about me. We got to talk about, I've got to meet people we have on here. So let's see. Let's go by alphabetical, in an alphabetical order. So we'll start with the life of the party first. Oh, no, I mean, Corey, we're going to skip over you.
I was going to say Mimi?
Yeah. I mean, I failed on the alphabetical stuff there, but we'll just go straight to Mimi. And then go to the master of music, and then come to the founder of the BPA, and then Sasha. So please take over the mic from me before I get myself in trouble.
Absolutely. I'll take the mic right away. So I am Mimi Jax, host of the Improper Mimi Show. Auntie extraordinaire. I stole my niece's earrings and they jingle. And I'm currently in Boston, but I reside in Brooklyn. Happy to be there. Yeah. And yeah, happy to be here tonight as well.
We got sound effects. That's dope.
You gotta warn people.
I hit a button. Oh, that was hilarious.
I keep forgetting I have that. So yeah, let's go.
We're bringing out all the stops tonight.
Right.
Tonight, everything's coming out. End of the year on the high.
Gotta do it up for the end of the year.
No holding back.
No holding back. There you go.
So, hey, y'all. My name is Jay Ray. That's the name I use when podcasting. But if you know me in other spaces and artistically, I go by my name, my government, as I often call it, which it is, of Johnnie Ray Kornegay III. I am many things. One of the things that I am is the co-host of the podcast Q Points, where we are a music history podcast. We drop the needle on Black music history, as we say. And also, I am the creative director for CNP, which is a nonprofit organization that I love very much, and am really happy to be here with everybody.
Hey. Oh, wait. Hold on. I almost forgot.
I love it.
There's definitely Brooklyn in the house.
Brooklyn transplant.
Yes. I'm an immigrant in Brooklyn, so don't forget that.
I was like, I had to point that one out as a native New Yorker.
I'm gonna let Sasha go first. I'm gonna let Sasha go first. Ladies first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Curry has been on the podcast before, so yeah, he's not brand new. All right.
Okay, I'm Sasha Fountain, also known as Sash_Marguerite. I'm the co-host of Cozy Chat Podcast. I am born and raised in Jamaica, Queens. So yeah, Queens is where it's at. Unfortunately, Brooklyn thinks they're supreme, but
Hey,
that's a story for another day.
That's
a story for another
No
day.
hate. All right, we'll give you
But,
a chill.
Damn,
See, that's for Queens.
hate is real, yo.
But yeah, other than being a podcaster, I am like an aspiring book talker. So we'll see how that goes in 2023.
Hey, you're doing a great job there. You know.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
You keep introducing me to plenty of books. So hey.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, or maybe I'll save it for later. But I was wondering, like, how many books you've read in 2022?
Oh, tell him, Sasha.
I know.
I'm like, Corey already knows.
No, we have to save that for
185.
Whoa!
Wow, that
Oh,
is
my
awesome.
goodness.
You know what? I'm just gonna remove the books from one of the topics that we had. Yeah.
No. There's a lot of-
No, I have a really good music book that I would love to talk about.
I'm
So,
like, I'm not gonna go through all the. I will pick 2 books for the year that I thought were amazing from
Okay.
the BPA book club, not
Okay.
from everything else I've read.
Oh no! I was just
Okay,
messing there.
we'll dig into that later. I can't wait.
All right.
And then
All
we-
right, Corey.
Then we save the best for last.
Hey, okay.
Oh man, this is gonna be a fun night.
Yeah.
My name's Corey Gumbs. I am the founder of the BPA. I'm also I also run a mobile podcast studio out here in New York. I'm also born and raised in Jamaica, Queens. Queens get the money. So yeah, I founded the Black Podcasters Association. I don't know if I said that. We gotta
That's
take
a good
the
one.
sound effects from this guy over here. He's a little too happy. He's definitely breaking the sound design rules.
Hey, let me. Hey, I've done like 2-3 recordings on Melon, and then it's like after recording, I'm like, oh, at the very end, I remember, I got sound effects. So I was like, today I remember from the beginning. So yep, start using it as soon as you remember. Put it to good use. So this is the first time I have a super duper 4 guest panel, and so we're gonna hit the year 2022 review, and let's see, where do we start with? Let's start with the topic people don't usually like to talk about. Oh, it's boring and all that, but it's not boring for me. Politics or the news or local news, whichever way you want to go with it. What was your highlights for the year? What was the most fun thing for you? For me, it was Dak Brandon and the George Santos was at the end. That's one high. Is the highlight is Dak Brandon. The low, like Joe, we did it. That's me. But yeah, it's not about me. So let's start with Sasha. You take that first.
I'm still thinking, processing. Top political highlight. Honestly, I would say the student loan forgiveness, because
that was a good one.
I'm waiting. I got my approval. I'm just waiting for this court thing to finish up so I can get my $10,000 taken away. Because these loans are like, I'm not in as big of a hole as other people, but taking away $10K is good enough for me.
Especially on
And
that
then-
compound interest.
Exactly. Trying to think of something. Honestly, the coverage of the whole Trump and the classified documents was a total low. I'm just like, are we gonna prosecute or not? Because like this, will they, won't they, is getting annoying.
But that guy generates, he's I think the media just they love Trump. They're still in love with that dude because they can't still call him an outright liar. That's why they keep doing the one day, because Gallant has been going quietly about his job, doing the circling, and I'm cool with the way Gallant is going about it. But man, it's very annoying the way they keep putting Trump in the headlines. Like, that guy shouldn't even be getting half, not even a quarter of 10% of the time. He shouldn't be getting it. But they just keep pumping him and pumping him.
Well, that's because he attacked him for 4 years. So now's their time.
It's not even that. They're focused.
But they're not attacking him. I mean, basic media. They don't even attack him.
They're focused on money more than actual news. Like, they're focused on more eyeballs, more money for our advertisers. Like, TV is not there. A lot of times TV is not there to fully inform you. It's more to they're paying for your eyeballs are being paid for. Like, they want your eyeballs on them because advertisers are paying them for you to see the ads and buy shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, just paraphrasing one of my professors. Every second, no, not every class, but most classes this semester, he would talk about advertising. Even though we were not the advertising class.
All right, who wants to go next?
I think for me, it was the whole January 6th thing and the investigation behind that. I think, we read about stuff like that in history, and now it actually happened during our time. And the causes that created it, which Trump is a very huge part of, and the whole political party. But I think that was a big one for me this year. I don't have like more than one because I haven't been paying attention too much, but that and that's mainly the one I've been paying attention to.
But that alone, the spread is so wide because it's easy to just say Trump cut his head off, cut off the head of the snake, and that's it. But once you go into the January 6th and you start seeing how far and wide it's spread, it shows you why you got to just nip it in the bud. Because if it was a much smarter person that was at the head of running this cartel, man, we probably would have been in camps right now. That's what we would have been looking at. Yeah.
I feel like January 6th might be our modern day Watergate.
It is.
Speaking about it right now, it just clicked. It's our Watergate.
If I recommend listening to the hashtag Sisters-in-Law podcast. It's from 4 women lawyers, and one of them actually prosecuted Nixon. There are 4 women from diverse backgrounds, and one of them was on the woman who was on the team that went after Nixon. And when she starts listing and pointing out the similarities from it's just between that time and now, it's like somebody just photocopied and did a terrible job of copying. But it's just like, wow, this is and you can imagine a woman being in that space back then when women weren't even welcomed in that space. So yeah, it's highly recommended because they expose a lot of this legal system in America, like up to the Supreme Court, why someone like Thomas Clarence should even be handling some of the cases that he's handling. Yeah, so it's a highly recommended podcast. Yeah. All right.
So I can jump in.
Sure, go ahead.
For me, there are actually 2 highlights. So the first, I'm really proud of the mobilization in Georgia around the runoff between Walker and Reverend Warnock.
Yeah.
Because I lived in Georgia for so long, I'm still connected, and my work, right? My day job is connected to Georgia, so I'm still really engaged in what's happening on the ground there. And the folks were doing so much hard work to make sure that people knew that they needed to get out after having just voted in November, right? That they needed to go back and participate in this runoff. And the people showed up. And I am so proud of what the folks on the ground, the Black folks on the ground in Georgia, really worked their butts off to make sure that people got to the polls by any means necessary. And so it shows what's possible with engaged leadership around this and what's possible nationwide, right? To be able to, I think, get the change that we need. So I think we can learn things from the work that's been done in Georgia. So that's one thing. And even locally, so locally in my hometown, there was a Black woman elected for state representative who upset a seat that had been held in one family for like 20 years, right? And this Black woman came in, ran a really solid campaign, won the primary, and was able to then go ahead and win the seat. And so I'm really proud of that commitment and watching the way she was able to really run that campaign. It was a great campaign. And so I'm really, really proud of that. You know, I'm not even going to focus on the lows. I think, you know, the biggest, I do want to mention one low that I think this is definitely some work that we have to do. Roe versus Wade was a huge low. For me. Pennsylvania passed a horrible HIV criminalization law that made it worse. I'm like, how can you make it worse in 2022? That's terrible, right?
I miss that.
Yeah,
so completely.
I'll make sure that I send that out to folks. But that was something that happened here in PA, right? So I do think, though, watching what happened in Georgia, there's hope. Despite all of that, and just making sure that folks remain engaged. But yeah, my highs, the folks in Georgia, as well as a local election.
Awesome. I'm glad that you brought up Roe v. Wade, because I remember a lot of the reactions. I was angry when that happened, and you know, I refused to just post anything, because there were people who I was seeing like finally realizing what was at stake. And there was someone who I know, I still haven't talked to the person. In 2016, she was like, oh, you know, my vote's not going to count, so I'm going to vote for the Aleppo man. And she was open about it and making fun about the whole thing. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, there's a whole lot at stake. And to her, she's like, Hillary's going to win. She don't need my vote. And I knew another sister. I knew the first person wasn't a sister, but she had Native American heritage. Another one was a sister who was on the LGBTQ, from the LGBTQ community, and she was like, "Yeah, my vote's not going to count." And they were just, it started driving me crazy seeing people saying stuff like this. And then after Roe v. Wade happened, fast forward later, and then the whole anger, and I was, God damn. What do you think? What do you remember all that talk? And then so I was just like, you know what, I don't even have anything to say about it openly, except just come out and vote. And then another one tried to pick a fight to me, like, oh, why are you telling me to vote? Voting, we need to. I'm like, okay, fine, I'm out. Bye. That's it. Because some people, maybe it's grief, maybe it's anger, maybe you need to process it. So go process it and then figure it out from there.
Yeah. And
Mimi.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, and even for me, not even, I mean, because those are all great topics and things that came up, you know, in politics that either impacted us or, you know, our daily lives, you know, throughout the year. I was just gonna say one thing that for me kind of was related to politics is seeing how my daughter and my mother have been more vocal, you know. So my mom, you know, just moved from like the East Coast over back home to moving back home to Ohio, where, you know, like we're originally from. And it's all kind of backwards there, whether it's gun law or reproduction or like even the schools and education and stuff like that. And just hearing her like, what is this they're doing? What is that they're doing? And from the older generation, still being active in politics or active in their communities. And then my daughter, younger, I think she's a millennial on the outskirts or, at the very end. But she's always kind of been active in community activities and kind of vocal about, well, they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. And I was like, okay, so I see you and I see you too. And just that, aspect of politics and how it impacts my family and how they're speaking out against it. So that was for me a good highlight in politics this year.
Yeah, go ahead, Jerry.
Yeah.
I wanted to thank Mimi. Thank you so much for bringing that up, because I think if there is anything positive that has come out of the reaction to Trump, I think it is the engagement of people in the process and folks understanding that it does matter, right? So when these things that are like these huge things that impact us in these really deep ways happen, it's like, oh, wait, okay, now I understand why this matters. So if there's one, so I actually have reframed even the work that I do, and yeah, in the short term, some of these things suck, but it's like, it's also an opportunity for us to make things even better because people can see it. And I think, all of us, I think back, like I lived through the 80s and, the crack epidemic, HIV, Reaganomics, all happening, mass incarceration, all happening at the same time. And we got through, and I'm like, okay, we'll get through this next, whatever, too. And it hopefully, as people see things happen, it just engages. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Mimi, because I think that's really important. We're seeing people engaged, like even me and my mom, seeing my mom engaged in like midterms in a way that she hadn't been before is really important.
I think it's a good example too of just seeing how power is on a pendulum, right? Even on a short one where you see things shift this way and how easily it can shift back the other way or start to shift back the other way. And I think when a lot of people say like, oh, like you're saying, Raphael, about how my vote doesn't count, they don't realize how short that pendulum swing can actually be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it's one thing that makes me admire a lot of young people. Well, younger people. I'm still young too, but the grades. Yeah, but I was impressed by the younger generation that voted in this cycle, because they get we talk a lot of trash about them, and they still do some stupid stuff. But that's who didn't do stupid stuff at that age?
I totally did. So
yeah.
So I was really impressed seeing them step up, push, and fight, because it's far too easy to just zoom in on the most ridiculous stuff on the internet and say, oh, look at these young kids, they're busy playing video games, they're voting on whatever reality show more than meanwhile adults vote on those shows too, but we don't want to talk about that. It's a different conversation, but they came out and even some of them ran and won offices. And and the crazy thing is that it's not even limited to just our side of the politics. Even on the other side, you still see young people coming out. And as much as I don't want to see that, I'm like, well, but you're participating. Put your mouth, put action. Step up to the action and be involved. So I encourage that, and I it gives me hope for the future, because and that's why we see the lows for me was it's a high for me, actually. It's not even low. The red wave, that's a high for me, because all the noise they kept making about the red wave,
how much it failed miserably.
It was a red ripple.
And I was looking at, I was like, some of the candidates, I know one of the Republicans who won in Florida, he got arrested this week or last week for shoplifting. The guy in New York, George Santos, who nothing is not once. Not he's not even Jewish. I'm like, why you don't claim your grandparents survived the Holocaust? People were going. They're going to research that like shine a flashlight. Like where?
Oh my
So,
God.
not he has a criminal a record in Brazil. He was supposed to stand trial. He never showed up for that. That dude is a Netflix documentary I'm waiting to watch because woo, oh man, he
Sounds like the Tinder swindler.
oh, he's worse than that. Tinder swindler was at least getting this one was I think he just showed up to the Republican Party and said, I'm gay. Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. He got a gay one finally, yes. And he's an immigrant, gay immigrant. Woo-hoo. We met our quota for diversity. And then the questions began. And wait, you never worked at City? You said you worked at Goldman Sachs and Citibank? No. You attended Baruch College? Nope. Nothing. Not one single truth.
That's fine.
Like, yikes, man. I'm here for the documentary though. I'll review it. I know they're gonna blame Doc Brandon and George Soros. Yeah, okay. When you do the blaming, but I'll still watch the documentary. That's me. But it's crazy how many candidates they keep putting out. Like the guy in what's his name, Walker. Like you hear that Mr. I just found out that werewolves can kill vampires. I'm like, what? Why are you trying to go to the Senate, man? Stay home and figure it out. Watch more movies.
I was like, for that, I feel like they were just like, okay, we have a black candidate and we need to put another black person to go against this candidate. And this person has name recognition and black people like him. So that's what it is.
Until he opened his mouth and all the black people were like, yeah.
Not even. There were still people voting for him because he was a good football player.
Yeah, but the numbers went like, I looked at the numbers, black votes, it wasn't even close. Black vote was like almost 90% of black women, no, like 95% of black women voted against him, and 93% of black men voted against him. So, yeah, he didn't even come close with the black vote. It was the usual.
He wasn't a black person for black people. He definitely wasn't.
He was busy trying to figure out werewolves and vampires. Like, man, go figure that out. You got enough time.
I mean, what's interesting about that part is in what you're saying about the guy that had the misrepresentations of his history. And it's funny. It's like here we are at politics where a guy who has clear, if you know anything about Herschel Walker, you know about all the concussions he had in his career, who is going to have, when he dies, you're going to realize how severe his CTE really is. But he's clearly not in the right state of mind. And then you have other people misrepresenting who they are and information. And that's the sad part of American politics. It doesn't matter anymore. And that's the part that I remember when growing up. It's like, oh, you smoke weed? Oh my God! Like, remember how they drug Clinton through the ground? And it's like, now you could be completely egregious and it's fine. So,
right. Yeah. If you say if your racism is the right racism, it don't matter what you did. Just come out and say, yeah, no, wait, well, they're gonna read that Marjorie Taylor. How many has that woman said? But anyway, that's enough on the political side. Otherwise, you guys are gonna keep me here. We're gonna record for 5 hours. And then people are gonna be like, what about the other topics? Like, all right. But there's another topic that's it's not political, but I like to call this topic the cultural moments of the year. So now you can throw anything you want to throw under it. So I'll go first because I got two that I just have to mention. There's more, but I'll just mention two. First is this Desus and Mero coming to an end. That was a big one for me. And Trevor Noah coming to an end also. But it's two different things entirely because Desus and Mero, I didn't see that coming. It was like, what? No, the brand is ending. No. But Trevor Noah, a brother from Africa came. He speaks how many languages? Like, goddamn, man, you're making it too hard for some of us. But hey, I appreciate it, man. You're intelligent. I love you. Still got to come on my podcast anyway. I'm waiting for that. But but Trevor was just. I love the way he interviews people. I may not agree with some of his guests, but I just love Trevor. Big fan of his, and I've been rooting for him since day one. I actually saw someone post on Facebook who still has beef with Trevor from 4 years ago about the comment about France winning the World Cup and should thank Africa. And I was like, oh, you still mad?
I mean,
You're still mad?
I mean,
I'm like, he posted thank you, Trevor. Somebody should tell Trevor, and he posted all the French national team players born in Paris, born in all the French cities. I was like, oh, you still there? 4 years later, you didn't get it. You're a journalist from Ireland. But well, good luck with that. But that's the power of Trevor. So, so both two shows that ended, I feel they were cultural moments, and they represented something different for nighttime television. And so I just want to give them flowers. So, what would be your cultural moments? It could be anything from a TikTok video or whatever, but it doesn't have to be
cultural, like black culture or just culture, pop culture.
Right. That's a good question. I should have thought about refining that. Well, but since you can make it black, you can make it. It's up to you. I'm freestyle it.
I'll say for me, the death of Kevin Samuels.
Oh, that was a big one.
From the podcast, from the podcast space, and especially in our community, it has created a huge vacuum of copycats and terrible content. Terrible content that is just getting worse and worse because everybody's trying to one up each other.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where it's influencing the younger I want to say younger generation, but the older generations. I see people who are married that are older than me feeding into the nonsense. And I'm like, you've been married for 25 years. Why are you even co-signing this crap? But I think that was a big one. I think his rise, him coming into the picture and then his passing, he brought a lot of stuff to the forefront that really should have never been brought to the forefront. That's my personal opinion. And I think that was a big one as far as the media creator space goes.
And he was fantastic in Atlanta. He was a damn good actor. I love that. No. You watched the episode with because when I saw him, I was like, wait, is that this Kevin Samuels? Oh man, he was good. He was good in that. That's like one of my favorite Atlanta episodes. And I was like, man, so you had talent like this? Oh, okay, makes sense now. Makes sense why you.
And I'm gonna lead into that because it's created this whole anti-woman thing, the anti-modern woman thing, which is ridiculous to me. And it leaked over into the other one I want to bring up is Black Panther 2. Because the response for a lot of people was, I'm not going to see this too many lead female roles and all that stuff. And then what boggled me was I actually went to the double feature where I saw Black Panther 1 and then 2, and I was like, they had the same roles in 2 that they had in 1.
Yeah.
It's just there was no, one Marvel gave what's his name a beautiful send off, and I think they tried to solve the problem of transitioning the character, and his death, and giving him his flowers even in death. But the whole anti-woman thing from Black Panther, and which I thought was another good movie, was Woman King. Even though I'm not a big title, but regardless of the historical aspect of it, being truthful or not, it was here was a movie that was actually solving the biggest complaints actors and people were having. Right here, you have dark skin, you have Black women of all color tones in this movie. You had them in a powerful lead. You touched on some real, subjects that still affect today, and it was a good movie. I mean, it was a good movie. I liked it. So I think this whole red pill nonsense that everybody, and now we see it recently with this whole Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez was division. I'm gonna keep my opinions and stuff. I just want to read the actual court documents and actually watch the court footage. But at the end of the day, the whole division portion of men versus women in our community is stemming from this whole Kevin Samuels resurgence that happened over the past 2 years.
I don't know. My piece on the Tory Lanez Megan, like I was team Megan the whole way, and anybody who wasn't is getting blocked.
I'm with you. I
wasn't. She misrepresented some things in the beginning because she was trying to hide stuff, but at the end of the day, All that
She
matters
got
is the
shot.
evidence that was presented in court.
To me,
But
what
she was
matters
trying to
is she
protect
got
him.
shot and he was a shooter.
He shot her. That's
Like,
for me.
some
That it
people
was
are
as simple
like,
as that.
there's reasonable doubt.
Mhm.
What, that he didn't have a gun, that he didn't shoot.
Well,
Come
I
on.
I say my opinion because I wasn't paying attention to it, and really, be honest with you, I didn't get two craps. But
Yeah, for me, like, I used to like Tory Lanez. I had just gotten into Tory Lanez music. I was bumping it all the time, and then that whole shooting thing came out. I was like, okay, time to stop. No longer listening. Not here for it. Not subscribing to this.
But what's
Especially
crazy to
coming-
me? Sorry, what's crazy to me? I knew he was going to get to this point at some point in his career where he was going to be involved in some criminal activity because he's always throughout his
always
entire
popping
career,
off.
He's been
Yeah.
I
Hey,
didn't know much about him before the Megan thing.
Curry, first of all, you need to let me know on the side about some people so I can place my bets. Now, I'm not saying I'm a place, but on the side, so we were talking
I was like,
on the back channels. Since you got this crystal ball, it's just I need a new laptop and some other equipment. So
I mean,
just in case
something
someone
that
listening wants to buy.
I was like, he's Canadian. Like, hopefully he get deported too. On top of
No,
it.
he's going to. He's a felon.
Oh yeah, they gonna send him home.
He's a felon. He messed up his money.
I was like, go
That's
back
his
to
money.
Canada. Stay over there.
That's a mess.
I think, and I mean, this application I think helped with the rise of Tory Lanez, and I think this year we've seen it deepen. But TikTok, like the influence of TikTok on every single thing, even the topic, Corey, that you just mentioned, this or even going back to the political space, this idea of I could just say anything because clicks and likes. Like the fact that TikTok, for the most part, most people are doing it in a minute, maybe two. You have to get all this stuff out, right? But we've seen how it permeates everything, where now the music industry, so this will be separate from the conversation when we talk about stuff that I liked in music, but now watching what artists have to do in order to appeal to the people who use TikTok. I am having a hard time with it. I'm having a hard time with how much influence TikTok has, because it's a lot and it's now impacting everything that we do. Every app that we use has like a TikTok like component.
Yeah.
That they're forcing us to use. And they're like, if you want people to see your thing on even YouTube, you make your shorts.
Yeah.
If you're not making reels on IG, no one's seeing you. Like now Facebook, same thing, right? So the cultural impact of TikTok is crazy to me. And I think to that point, the FM Mika thing that happened around the AI rapper.
Oh, I was like, that sounds familiar. What the hell was that?
Yeah.
But I remember.
That gave way to look at, this has been happening, right? So the AI stuff that we're now seeing a lot of is not new stuff, right?
Nope.
It's been happening, but now all of those companies that have been building their platforms on the backs of our Facebook and our IG and all of this data collection that they've been doing, the street cameras, all of that stuff, right? Those companies is like, well, we're ready to launch now. And in 2022, they came out of the shadows with all of your apps, right? So that people can front-facingly see it, right? So you have all the deep fakes that showed up this year. You have, so all of the stuff around artificial intelligence is like, I think, a big cultural moment for us. The fact that it's no longer quietly happening where we're just kind of interacting with it, but not really, where now it's talking back to us. You know what I'm saying? All of the stuff that we've been feeding into is now like, here's what we know now. Here's what we can do. And I think that was also a big cultural moment. But I think that FN Mika thing really kicked it off of like, oh, they making like whole rappers now that are racially ambiguous, but are clearly trying to represent Black culture, but are not made by Black people. And so now we get to see what's happening behind the curtain. And I think the FN Mika thing just kind of showed us that. But yeah, so TikTok and I think the FN Mika thing, along with the AI stuff, are my two big cultural moments this year.
That's big on AI, because I know I just read an article. Actually, it's from Brian Corey, our guy Brian, and the article was talking about this photos, the AI photos, and inside the article I discovered that the professor at MIT said that she was getting only nude photos, that it took her image, that, and then they discovered that when they did the research, they noticed that Asian women were getting a bunch of Asian women were only getting sexualized or nude photos. That's what the AI was feeding, because that's the data that the AI had been giving. And then the company was, yeah, we're fixing that. I was like, oops, and then there was like more articles kept coming. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to spend the whole day reading about AI, but that's after reading that, I was like, yeah, I'm not. I was thinking about trying this, but no. I'm good, but yeah.
I'm like, the other thing about the AI, a lot of artists have reported that the AI is like pretty much stealing their art.
Yes, that's another thing.
Their like art styles and money that could have been coming to them for them doing these portraits is just going through the AIs.
Yeah, if you're charging money for that, and you like, I saw another article where a bunch of artists, they had the artist's photo with the AI's photo, drawings, photo, whichever, but it was like for like, and it like a photocopy, like a perfect copy of the artist's rendition of their own work. So I'm like, at least cut them a check if you're going to do something like that. You cut them a check. Don't you know, if that's what you fed into your database, because the AI doesn't know where did the AI get its images from that is basing its style on. So you obviously got it from somewhere. Cut that person a check. So I'm like, man, now I'm now thinking about my own photos on social media. Like, God damn, I gotta start deleting photos now and all that.
I won't be surprised in 2023 that you start seeing some lawsuits coming from that, because how AI, everybody thinks AI is perfect. Like, a lot of people think it's perfect. It's really trash in a lot of places. But how the basis of it works is, in order for it to do that work, it has to be fed models.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't be surprised if artists start suing some of these companies for copyright infringement, because they had to use their content to create that model that was used to make that style of art. So that's gonna definitely it's probably definitely gonna go, to the left. But back to what Jay was saying, I mean, like, even with that, like the whole NFT space and the collapse of it.
Woo, that went south quick.
But I called it on my Facebook page in the earlier year, and people were coming at me, but I knew it was coming.
Yeah, this is not the opinion of White Label American podcast, but your host still has some NFTs on the side that he's willing to sell.
I was like, the only NFTs I have they were given to me for free by DC Comics, and they're not worth anything, but they're cute to look at.
Hey, that's why you got it.
I was like, they're nice. Harley Quinn, like, one is a Harley Quinn theme, and the other one is Batman. I was like,
there's too many Batman out there. So.
I'm like, it was they DC, not this year, 2020 and 2021, they had an event called DC Fandom where they did like a day or 2-day event, kind of previewing all their new content, their new games and stuff like that. But I'm going to go through my cultural moment. I was struggling to think of one, but then I realized right now we're in the middle of a big cultural moment on TikTok, the Black Girl Follow train. where it's pretty much Black women on TikTok. They use like 2 to 3 different audio clips that are kind of like, if you're a Black woman and you follow me, you like my content, I will follow you and like your content back. And women have been, it's been chains of women doing these. I posted one a few, like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. I posted like 2 of those videos using 2 of the different trending audios, and I went from about 600 followers. I'm like at least 1,200. I've gained at least 600 or more followers in the last like 3 to 4 days. And it's been the reason why I think it's so interesting is this like Black Girl Follow train has created a cultural moment among Black women coming together on TikTok. But there's also been a lot of Black backlash. Of course, white women are like, what about us? We're women too.
Girl.
Like I saw a clip of a woman who's like, it's about good versus evil. I'm like, why are Black women evil for saying, hey, I want to support more Black women and I want Black women to support me, come together as a community. It's not anybody saying, hey, if you're not Black, don't follow me. And if you're not Black, I won't follow you Black. It's just a specific movement. But of course, I feel like white women have to center themselves in every conversation, in every space. So therefore, a space created for Black women is automatically a threat.
Well.
So that's my big
that white woman's defense, she voted for Obama maybe once, not twice. Once.
So let me ask you a question though. I'm gonna be that person. Like, so if Black men do it, is it okay?
On some
can Black men get it together to actually follow each other back? No.
the manosphere is still busy in their cars. I need to start making videos in my car.
You said that you busy in their cars.
Oh my god! Like Derek Jackson.
Look here.
That guy who reminds me of Kevin Samuels, who he cheated on his wife, and then he had a video with him and his wife talking about how he was trying to be a better man.
Oh man, that dude.
He's doing it for somebody else now. He's being a better man.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah. Well, if he made a lot of money, so he might need to come donate to my cause so I can make more videos. But Mimi, let's get to your cultural moment.
My cultural moment, man. I mean, I was so busy this year, doing different, helping my girl, occasionally with her organization and podcast and Bacchus Tech, which is a tech conference that
that's a cultural moment.
That that has taken up a lot of my time. But it's been very rewarding, and it's this year we're coming back out of online and hype in the hybrid mode. So this is the first time we had people on site in Atlanta, and just to see. Now I grew up, in engineering, mathematics with STEM, like power to the science and technology. We want to increase Black people in science and technology. So to me, I'm used to seeing like thousands of Black people in suits coming together. Yes, we're here, for this conference. But to have and see people come together in Atlanta for this conference that I was like really working on, like on the board for, it was just such a, to me, cultural moment that they were so happy to meet each other in person. We've been doing this conference online, and you start to see, okay, this person puts up all the good gifts. This one is in every room making comments. This person's helping out behind the scenes. But then to see them in person, so another like, okay, we're kind of coming back to normal. I don't think Atlanta ever shut down, but
yeah.
It didn't. It was open the whole time.
They were active the whole time. But to be out amongst the people, and to see how happy everyone was to get to know each other and connect and make, talking about AI, talking about, women coding, talking about gaming and stuff like that. That to me was, the thing that kind of impacted me culturally this year. Just being involved in it, So
awesome. Hey, and speaking of black people coming together, black professionals, Afros and Audio. I was there in person. Got to hang out with Jay Ray and Mimi and Corey. Of course, Corey. I'm always hanging out with Corey. It's becoming too much. I'm gonna have to reduce that. But anyway, that's not the point. But yeah, Afros and Audio was another cultural moment for me because that was the first time attending in person, and that was just so beautiful. I still have the high anytime I talk about it. So
yeah. And the people we met there, it's great doing things virtually, but when you get to do it in person, it's that bond that you make with people is you find out a little bit more about them that you might not have known. So
yeah, and the connections feel more personal.
Yeah.
So let's jump to sports. Or should we do music first? Let's do sports first, and then we jump into some other nerd stuff. Oh, yeah, let me make. I think I forgot to write music down, but now I remember. Yeah. So sporting moments. Oh, there was a lot this year. There was a lot, but yeah, I'll let the Mets fans go first. The Mets fans here, because y'all were pumping me up at one point, and then all of a sudden there was quietness. I didn't understand what was happening, and then I heard Houston. I was like, that's why I don't understand baseball. So, yeah. Cool. Oh, you're on mute.
I'm on mute. As a lifelong Mets fan who has gone through a series of huge disappointments, as happy I was, I even went to a game this year and I was happy to go. But one thing I think for me, the biggest pointing part of the season was them losing Jake DeGrom as their starting chief ace pitcher after all the years of injuries and stuff and support that he received. But it is what it is. But as a Mets fan, I tell my friends, and I kept saying it all year, I will not start celebrating until September comes, because that's when that day always implode. And the part that hurt me the most was that the day Afros and Audio ended was the day that Philadelphia won the World Series.
Oh yeah.
So I was even more salty because they were at the bottom of the barrel the entire season, and then they win the World Series, and that was supposed to be because baseball is
hard work, man.
It's like that, But
sorry, man.
Shout out to the Philly fans. Shout out to the fans.
I shouldn't have asked that question, but I'm glad I did.
I think the good side of sports season for me was when the Yankees got knocked out the playoffs immediately after the Mets. So. Because as a Mets fan, we always get bullied by Yankees fans, and they were like, "How's vacation?" Well, your only difference is a week between the two of us, so we got the grill warmed up for you guys.
Oh man,
I haven't paid attention to sports as much this year as I normally do. Like I haven't even watched a football game this season, so. I just paid attention to the Mets running. I'm excited because it means next year we're going to get better, and they've been making moves to do that. But that's about it. I can say about sports.
I know it's been a good year for Philly. So, Jay, will you want to go next?
So here's the thing. I'm not a sports dude, so I don't have like a whole ton. I'm just not. But I will say, though, I do high level pay attention to sports from a pop culture standpoint, and how and just how the business of sports moves. So for me this year, it was watching the love that Serena Williams was getting. During kind of during August, I thought was really moving. Because oftentimes what I think we see is we will admire folks, but we don't do a good job of giving people flowers while they're here, right? Something has to happen in order for folks, especially Black folks, right, to get the shine. People will say you're great, but it'll be a decade, right, before they actually, really show it. And I felt like tennis and the world did a really good job of expressing their love and appreciation for what Serena has brought to the sport of tennis. And I was really moved by that as a moment for Black people, as a moment for Black women. I thought that was really important. And so that was kind of my big sports related highlight. Yeah.
Yeah, and that relates to mine too, because I have two, so one of them being, of course, Serena and her, early, what did she say? Not retirement, but
evolving away, I think.
Evolving away from the sport, right? So, I mean, being a transplant in New York, I've never been to the U.S. Open, right? So I got to go this year, and I got to see her play. So first time I went, and I got to see her play, and the whole place was electric. White, Black, everyone in the place was just ecstatic to see her play and, watch her swirl, like all into it, and everything, the power. So, I mean, that was a big sports moment for me. And you should have seen me. I don't even watch tennis really. So I'm on the phone texting my sister, like, what does this mean? What's going on? What are they talking about? All the while, not even realizing that little blue headset thing that they gave us for free over at the American Express booth, they actually had, it was commentary. It actually was like, I'm like,
oh, good to know. That's a tip for all of us.
Yeah. So y'all take the tip from me, because I'm like, oh, a little radio in my purse it went. And then I get home and I'm like, oh, this I was supposed to use during the event so I could hear and get commentary on what's happening. I was just texting my sister like, so what's this mean? Oh, she's up, right? This is good. Like, oh, what's going on? So that was one like sports moment. I guess I have a few. I do love sports, and again, I love walking around New York with my Patriots hat, with some Boston Celtics gear, so when they were like earlier in the season in playoffs, I was up at the bar. Celtics. I was in the bar. I was like, yeah, go Celtics. Yeah. And they're like, well, what?
Mimi asking for beef. She wants to smoke.
Come on, we got all kind of jerseys up in the garden, okay? In our garden. And then of course World Cup, so I had fun. And again, I'm all for the party, all for the experience. So the first time I think I really got into World Cup was 2010 when they were in South Africa. I went, my friends were like, you want to go? I was like, yeah, let's go. So we went to World Cup, I was like, wow, that's great. And then it's just recently passing now. I've been watching, the different matches, and I was like, I miss this. I don't watch soccer really any other time, or football any other time, but for the major events and the championships,
football.
It was really, really entertaining. And my heart was just like, it's just like every minute, every kick. I'm like, damn it, soccer. I mean, whatever. I call it soccer.
Football is football on this podcast.
Football, yes. Yeah. Soccer. Every time. I'm like, is there skill to it? Like, how do you know it's going to go in? It's just like a luck and a draw, right? I'm not just going to kick over my head and want to go into the net. But I felt entertaining to me.
It was.
Yeah, I'm not a big sports person, so this question wasn't really for me. But I caught a little bit of the World Cup. I caught not too much of the U.S. Open, but honestly, it's my whole thing with sports is I tried sports as a kid and didn't really vibe with my spirit. I was a dance kid.
Hey, that's a sports too,
Yeah.
I was like, yes, true. I was a competitive dancer, so yeah, I was going to competitions.
Okay, see.
That was the only like sport I tried tennis, I tried volleyball, I tried basketball. It all.
Yeah, you tried more sports than me.
The only one I was semi-successful at was tennis, but I didn't continue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I appreciate Serena. Like, big ups to her evolving from a career that she worked hard for.
Yeah.
Other than that, sports and me, they don't really.
So quick story. I remember working at the U.S. Open when Venus and Serena started playing. I'm dating
Oh
myself.
wow.
But
Oh,
that's what got me into tennis. Was we were at the booths and they would have the games on the screen and we could watch. If you had the right booth, you could watch the games. Sometimes the
actually,
guys would
that's
let
the
you
sound
sneak up
effect.
there to go watch when there was no business. But I remember the vitriol and the stuff white people used to say when they were walking around and stuff about these girls. So
Wow.
I'm so happy that's what got me into tennis. That's when I started learning about tennis. Was because we had nothing. We standing there waiting for people to come to the booth, and it's like, okay, this is an interesting game.
Yeah.
You see them bust ass. Excuse my French, Raph, but to keep
No, it's allowed. It's,
but to see them do what they were doing when they were like 15, 16 years old was amazing.
yeah, and they open the doors for so many people, and the inspiration is yeah, they're legends. They're legends, both sisters, and yeah. So I always give them their flowers. But for me, there were so many. There were so many for me this year. But I'll just settle on the World Cup because Africa got a lot of good going on. Yes, the French came and, as we say in Nigeria, pour sand in our gari. But the revenge shall happen again in 4 years. One African team still beat France, which I was glad to see. So shout out to my Tunisian brethren. Shukran to the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. But every single African team won at the World Cup with indigenous coaches. So take that, Zambia, who just employed a pensioner from Israel. I don't know why you do that, but you guys don't learn a lesson. Come and hire me as a consultant. You don't even do that. But yeah, all these guys went there with the guys from the continent, and they won. Except Ghana, you're still banned from Ghanaian jollof. You guys messed up big time. I still can't forgive you. I'll forgive you in 2023. It's good. I'm working on it, but you guys messed up big time, Ghanaians. God damn Ghanaians. I'll still eat fufu and peanuts too, but God, I can't even look at Ghana. I don't see Ghanaian flag now. But Morocco, I love Moroccans. You guys were awesome. Took us all the way to semifinals. First time African will beat the course of the quarterfinal. The Atlas Lions, I love them. Shukran again. So those are my people right now. I'm Moroccan until further notice. Yeah. So they call me Rafiki. Maybe I'll change my name. Nah, I won't. But, yeah. So, but it was great. Yes, and with it was also interesting seeing an African team doing well, led by an African, with the diversity in the team. Because people always act like all African countries are one people. They forget that there's diversity on the continent. And then the negativity, the toxicity started popping out online. People like, Moroccans are not Africans, all this and all that. I'm like, hey, just say you're mad. It was Moroccans that got there first. And you who makes the coolest jerseys, you still can't get out of the group stage. Go stop getting retirees from Europe to come coach your team. Pay your own, and you won't pay your people. So they know who they are. Those are people. But when you pay me properly, I'll tell you the secrets. But anyway, let's move to something more fun.
All I know is Raphael's out here looking for the smoke from the continent in regards to soccer. So,
oh shit, I ain't scared of them. They know me. They're scared of me. Right?
Raph, like they know me.
They know me. They know where to find me. They know where to find
A whole continent.
You make
Clearly,
mistake.
Everybody.
Show up
clearly
without
Brooklyn is
receipts.
influencing him now.
You show up without
He
receipts.
got that Brooklyn spirit in there now.
Oh hell yeah! Hell yeah.
He's like, I wish they would.
I wish. No, even my daughter was gonna look at you and be like, "Are you sure?" That's what she's gonna ask you. I'm like, tell them. We'll meet at the pepper soup joint and then battle it out. But yeah, so let's move to something much more exciting than Ghanaians disappointing us at the World Cup. Another shot at Ghana again. But
I still
you can join my Patreon, Ghanaians, and I'll forgive you all. Make sign of cross, and so I'll forgive you. But first of all, it depends on what tier of the Patreon you join too. That's another criteria. But yes, let's go to music and yeah. So, what's the music? What stood out for you in the music world? I know we've mentioned Megan Thee Stallion, but yeah. So we won't do double dipping. But yeah, what else? Well, there were plenty of albums. There were some disappointments. There were some light skinned people who did so. Who, I don't know what route they were going. They were supposed to make some good music, but I don't know. Then when they get into feelings, Corey, man, what's happening, man?
Beyonce, or you talking about Drake?
Corey, when y'all get into feelings, I don't get it. Why y'all
that Beyonce goes like, so we gonna talk about that in a minute though. that thing.
Corey, you're not gonna bring that Queen's
I'm gonna get the beehive on.
Get struck by lightning.
I'm not a beehive. I'm not very big on Beyonce.
I'm a beehive.
That one song, "Cuff It," that's on TikTok is kind of catchy though. With the Cuff It challenge.
My daughter.
That's the only best part of the song.
I never heard the rest of the song.
Don't worry, you're not missing anything. You're not missing.
It's a good song.
Corey just loves hating because of Beyonce's husband. That's why Corey is hating.
I've never been a Beyonce fan, so.
Corey, I know you be.
When it comes to people I don't like in music, I'm pretty consistent over the decade.
Corey will be alone in the room. You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul. When nobody's there.
Corey, she sings that. I like that.
But Corey still hasn't answered the question. What is going on with light-skinned brothers and their feelings? Who hurts the light-skinned brothers?
How do I become the default spokesperson? Because I'm a lighter shade than everybody else.
Who hurts the light-skinned
brother? Dark skin in my heart, all right?
Right? In his heart, man.
When a light-skinned brother gets hurt, and they get on the mic, oh my goodness, like, man, who hurts you? Who hurts you, Drake? Who hurts you? Who hurt that dude?
He just knows his audience.
I mean, he knows his audience.
He does know his audience.
He really does. And I feel like his audience is people who like Kevin Samuels.
Oh,
I was about to say that. I was about to say he's the manosphere of rap.
So here's the thing. So I'm going to explain what happened. The second Drake. So Drake tried to. He just made a poor attempt. Mm-hmm. He tried to do something different, right? So the first release of the year, Honestly Nevermind, was honestly a kind of lackluster, lazy attempt to try and do something new and different, right? Here's what he did though. It's business 101. He did some research, because the very last song on the record was the song with him in 21. It's the only straightaway hip hop joint on the entire album. I couldn't stand Honestly Nevermind for the most part. I only liked the 3 songs that he rapped on, but lyrically he was trash. Like the whole album, the singing was bad and the lyrics were trash, right? But that 21 joint at the end, I was like, I kind of get with that him and 21 joint. Like I kind of get with that. Mm-hmm. And then he just decided to make a whole record of that, because that song became the most streamed song from the album. So the album we got was like, that's what his fans said they wanted him to make. So he just went and made a whole record of that, right? So that's honestly what happened. It's like at this point, Drake is album by numbers. You know what you're going to get on a Drake record. Honestly Nevermind was an attempt to do something totally different. It didn't work. So he was like, I'm going to just give y'all what y'all said y'all wanted. Y'all wanted me in 21 because y'all kept streaming that. So I'm going to give you an entire record of it.
Light skin savagery.
Yeah, I don't listen to him no more. No. I stopped listening to him years ago. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's a good rapper. I don't think he can sing. The only time I liked him was on Degrassi.
You went back to Degrassi.
That's just mean. That's mean.
That is. I'm like, I know I'm not the oldest on the call, but that's dating me a little bit. Degrassi.
I still mess with. He used to call me on myself on that dance. I do that dance.
Hotline Bling was a hot joint.
And what's the other one? God's Plan. Because anytime I see there's some posts I see on the internet, and I just respond, God's Plan starts playing. And if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it, well, because there's some people who just that's the only response they're gonna get. Because
I just have a question, Rapper. How you gonna get on me about Drake when he did Marvin's Room, like almost a decade ago? Like, why am I like? Why are you asking me about what's going on with Light Folk when he told you back then what was going on with Light Folks?
Well, you are the ambassador.
I'm the ambassador.
I'm just
checking.
checking on the feelings, because when the light skin savagery pops out, I'm like, man, y'all don't play.
I can speak on light skin savagery, but the whole feelings thing I can't speak on.
Look, man,
I can't speak on this album because I ain't.
You know what? Let's move on to someone who got something.
I would say for me, for music this year though, was one of the benefits TikTok had for me was the introduction to I'm a Piano, like both that little run over the summer, and that's all.
That was through TikTok. You found out?
Yeah, when everybody was doing all those little dances and stuff, and I was like, oh, what is this? And I was like in the beat, and I was like, okay, what is this? So I thought I'm a Piano at first was an artist because it kept saying I'm a Piano. I was like, who is this artist? I was like, who is this person? I couldn't find him on Apple Music and stuff. I was like, who is this? And then I was like, oh, it's a type of music from Africa. Okay, that's cool. And then the other highlight for me with music this year was I actually got to see Black Coffee, which that show out in Brooklyn. That show
you didn't tell me about.
I didn't find out to that the night of. I got lucky.
A lot of light skin move.
No. So I didn't find out until the day of, okay, and I got lucky with tickets. So
man, them lights.
I got my tickets at 9 o'clock that morning.
They come for you.
But it was a great show. It was good to see a whole 3 sets of black DJs doing house and dance music at an event. Because that's all it was. It was him and the 2 other DJs that I'm trying to get their names so I could check out their stuff. But it was good seeing that, and then it was such a diverse crowd. It was like that was dope as well. So, but you see some stuff at those concerts, boy, and you're on your feet. Like I heard he didn't finish the set until like 5 a.m, and I left at like 2 o'clock.
I remember that.
That's where I live. That's where I live. As a house head, like my ankle will pay for it the next day.
I paid for it,
but it'll be worth it. Oh yeah, we met the day after. So I met with Corey. I met with you the next day. Corey was done.
I realized I wasn't 23 anymore.
Oh my God.
You weren't 23 and a savage. It's all right.
Exactly.
I'm like, man. I mean, music wise, I'm a big like emo pop punk head, so I went to Sad Summerfest that came through New York in must have been July, and they had like one of the openers was Magnolia Park, which is a band from Orlando, Florida, and it's like a pop punk band that has a black lead singer. So I was just like, I'm down. I found them on TikTok, and I was like, I'm down for this. Black lead singer, I think a black drummer as well. And I'm just like, their sound, I was streaming them all year. I think it was a moment, it was great to have exposure for more alternative bands on a wider stage. And also there is another band, Meet Me at the Altar, signed to Fuel by Ramen, which is initially Paramore's label. And it's 3 women, feminine presenting, because I'm not sure if they all identify as women. 2 black femmes and a Latina. And I'm just like, I'm here for diversity in pop punk.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I think this year I love music, and I actually was in the orchestra through middle school, high school, college. So when I see a black violinist, I just go like, oh, I just love, string instruments and music. So this year I said, you know what, I'm going to go to, I've always wanted to kind of see some shows at Carnegie Hall. And I think I've maybe seen 1 or 2 before. I never really went. But Jerry, had them as one of his sponsors. So he was doing like commercial for them, an ad for them. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go do it. Like, let me see all the Black people that Carnegie Hall is playing. And so I did like the 4-pack. I was like, I don't know who's going with me, but I'm gonna go. So, I picked out 4 different shows. And I can say there is quite a difference between the balcony, the orchestra, the Zamco Hall, which is like not the main theater, but I think it's more kind of like a rehearsal theater, but the seating there is more spacious. They have seats on like the next level there, but it's like freestanding individual seats, so that I could change my chair, sit this way. I was like, okay, this is nice. This is good. Let's see, who did I see? There was Rihanna Giddens I went to see. And I think my native daughters. I saw Audra McDonald, who is fabulous. Love, love, love her. We were right up front in the orchestra with that one. And then Somi. I saw Somi in the Zamco Hall, which is I'm like, oh, I like this hall. It's like, okay, now I know when I go where I will sit and where I will not sit. I don't want to be up in the balcony with my knees in my chest, aiming at, I'm 5'8", and I'm like, yo, must be for the poor white people from back in the 40s because they were short. I was like, these seats up here, like, I can't move, I can't breathe. So I know where I want to go sit, and I still want to see some of the orchestras because these were fabulous Black women singers that I went to see. When you see my Spotify Wrapped, I think Spotify Wrapped is just trash for everything, but one thing is consistent year to year. Buju is always number 1. But I listen to so many playlists and mixed like all different genres that it even told me Beyonce was my favorite artist one time. I was like, but I don't even listen to her, So it must have been when Black is King or whatever was out. It was just on repeat or something. But yeah, I love different types of music. I'm looking forward to more, strings. I want to see Orchestra Noir. That's on my hit list. But yeah, y'all really will be surprised. I don't know a lot of name of the artist or the name of the song. I'll know the hook, but I'm very famous for not knowing the words to any song, not knowing the lyrics. So
I barely know like
yeah.
When you somebody
on repeat.
I'll let you know. All right. You may get some of them loud songs. I'll be like, hey,
are you do orchestra?
That Orchestra Noir sounds interesting. I'll come.
I used to
blood on both sides, man.
I used to go to Lincoln. What's it called? Lincoln Hall.
Lincoln Center.
Lincoln Center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where I used to take my dates to. Back
back in the day.
As a refined gentleman, you're like, oh wow, you're for a Black guy. You're different.
Yeah, then see, for me, it was Cafe Wa in the Village.
I used to get free tickets too, So, but I think the tendency I was always coming back for free tickets because they used to give veterans free ticket, and the first 2 times they used to give me free like 2 tickets. Like one time they even gave me 8 tickets for one orchestra, and they were like, "How many tickets you need?" I was like, 8. I didn't know how to find 8 people, but I just asked for 8, and they gave me great seats. But they used to give me free tickets and drinks, and that's why I was like, "Oh, okay." And then after they saw that, oh, this guy keeps coming back. Like, okay, we're gonna take the drinks away, but you still get free tickets.
There's so many programs in New York for either free music or discounted music, or for different groups or whatnot. Shoot, my daughter's coming to visit. I'm like, yo, you got that student ID? This is what I want. We're gonna get some $10 tickets. We're gonna go see this show.
There you go.
Gonna live that life.
Oh man,
I love it.
I love it, man.
In the vein of like still kind of musicals, there's one on Broadway now called Anne Juliet, which is kind of the story of what if Juliet didn't die at the end of Romeo and Juliet. And the day I went with my friend a few weeks ago, the lead actress, I don't know if she was like on a hot, like she was taking a break or something, but her understudy was like this amazing, like dark skinned Black woman. And I was just like, I'm here for it. Like,
nice.
I forgot her name. It's in my program somewhere, but She rocked it out. I was like, I don't even feel bad that I didn't see the lead.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
Talking about TikTok, before I move on to the next topic, I just recalled, I don't know if it was, I can't recall if it was this year. I think it was early this year. I found out about the artist. I have to check my playlist for her name. A Somalian musician who, I think Cardi B saw somebody playing her music on TikTok, and Cardi B was, I like this jam. And Cardi B put it out there, and that's how she, everybody started playing her song. And I heard the song, and I realized I've never had an artist in Somalia from Somalia singing, because if you know Somalia, it's a Muslim majority country, so there's quite conservative and all that. But her husband is like her manager / producer, so it's not like the Afrobeats type of music. Their music is more closer to the Arabic type of music. But that jam is one jam that, the moment you play it, is like, oh, I can see why Cardi B go like, oh, my jam. This I don't know what she's singing about, but this is and I was like, oh man, I just I played that jam for like the whole week.
You see Nasa?
I gotta look for it. I gotta look for
I'm like thinking of jams that
Is it
people found on
Nimco Happy?
TikTok that
Nimco, I think Nimco Happy. I think that I think
jams that people didn't realize what it was. There was that Russian song, like
which one?
maybe either end of 2021 or beginning of 2022, that everybody was doing their little dances to, and then Russian people or people who spoke Russian were like, these lyrics are wild.
Oh boy.
Like, you're supporting some crazy ass shit by doing this audio. I was just like, thank goodness I did not choose to use that audio.
Let me know the song, please. Send it to me later on.
I don't know the song. Let me.
No, I said later on. Send it to me whenever you find out, just in case somebody tries to sneak that song to me, because
and that's the I think there's one, that's the other thing I think going into like weird TikTok stuff is because it's so easy to go viral and people are just kind of doing the thing that everyone is doing. There's not always the understanding of what everything means. So I think keeping that top of mind as it relates to music, and even when music wise for me, I had a lot of, it's always a good music year for me. I'm always finding some stuff that I like. So I never really have like a bad music year. So this year, the thing I love the most is the attention that house music got this year. So the one good thing that did come out of Honestly Nevermind is people were like, well, what is this thing that Drake is doing that Drake had already done before, but he just kind of did it in a whole album format? So that was a weird conversation. I'm like, he's already done this on several albums before. It's just now a whole record of it. But anyway, it sparked it. And then Beyonce kind of doubling down on it in a much better and more elevated way. It's just a squarely good release. So I think just in general, house music getting some attention, and people starting to ask questions like, who are these people and where did this come from, and who is Moi Renee, and all of starting to spark conversation. I thought that was really good, but it ended up, I wasn't sure that Renaissance was going to be my favorite thing, because I had like, it was a tussle. Like, it was a tussle for the top spot for me, but that ended up at the top. I don't think Beyonce's ever landed at the top for me. So this might be the first time. I got to go back through my old list. But I thought Kendrick was going to pull it out, but then I realized like, I really like songs on Renaissance. Like, I like them a lot, like, and just a quick note before we move off of this. And I think that's the thing I liked about it, is it wasn't a sure bet. Like her doing the record in the way that it's done, because it's very, when you play Cuff It, I listen to classic R&B radio. Cuff It don't sound like nothing else that's on the radio. Like it literally comes on and I'm like, oh, like this song sounds nothing like anything else that just played for the last hour. And that's a good thing. And I'm like, so the record could have fallen on its face, but I think what made it work is the callback. All those samples are what made that record work. So her team pulled the right samples, and it was the right references to do the right thing that I think ended up making like a really solid record. Hopefully people get back to sampling. We've stopped sampling. And I want people to go. I hope Renaissance says we should sample more. Like,
well, you know, it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Sweetie sampling a lot, or the one who's cousins with like Gabrielle Union. A lot of her top songs were sampled. I think.
I don't know no Saweetie songs, so I don't even.
Only reason I know them is because my best friend was bumping them in her car in the summertime. I'm like, that sounds familiar.
I do want to.
I know this is a sample of something.
I do want to say for hip hop, the whole resurgence of Benny the Butcher, the surgence of Benny the Butcher this year, and the whole Buffalo rap scene. Yeah, and showing that these older guys can still sell music with that, that boom bap rap and the gangster and the tough and slick talking rap. Yeah, with Conway and West Side Gun, and then Benny doing the noise he made this year was like was perfect. And I you know what else I think was big this year was Snoop Dogg getting Death Row.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah, that's true. Isn't that apropos? I love the fact that Snoop is now like, I just own it all now. It's cool. Yeah. I think that was dope.
And always stays getting the money.
You know what I'm saying? And so to that point, Corey, Nas, 30 years into his career, is my number 3. Yeah. My number 3 biggest record of the year, which surprised me. Totally surprised me. And I was like, oh yeah, no. I fuck with this record. I'm sorry I'm cussing on your show, right? No. But 30 years in, 30 years into his career, I'm like, and so many of those records. So Conway, who else is on there? West Side Gun. I had 40 records that I just loved. 41 that I loved this year. And the records that you mentioned are on there. So there was a lot of fighting for what was going to be in my top 10.
I found the name of the artist, the Somalian artist. Actually, it was in 2021, towards the end of 2021, that Cardi B and Bella Hadid found her on TikTok. Issy Nafta. Issy with 2 eyes. Issy Nafta. So I was like, but I found out about her this year, and I was like, oh, this jam is quite catchy. Speaking about a song that we found out the meaning of this year, is if you've been to Nigerian parties, you probably must have heard of this magic system. We call it Lepagao, which is in the chorus, but that's not the official title, but that's the Nigerian title we gave to it. But it's a song that had been big way before I even left Nigeria. It's an old song, but you must play that at Nigerian parties, must play that all African parties. It's a big song. And I came across a Twitter thread, and somebody was like, oh, every time Nigerians, we always play this song at our parties, no matter the party. Do you even know what this song means? Let me break it down for you, and the guys are listing the story behind the song and the lyrics. Well, all this time I've been dancing, and even my daughter dances to the song now. The whole story, all the guys singing about is his heartbreak. He got dumped, and that's what he's crying about. And then Nigerian uncles will be like, DJ, if you don't play this song, I won't pay you money. Play that song, I want to dance. But we don't understand French. I was like, wow, dude, why you gotta make your heart break so kind of that we all here dancing like, man, what kind of heartbreak is this? We all dance, man. We love this song.
But listen, that was the whole disco genre. I mean, the reality is we forget that the most kind of universal things that we can all bond to, love and heartbreak, So you put those two things in a song and put a hot beat and a hot melody on that joint, you good. You good.
Yeah. I mean, at the end, we're like, well, I'm sorry that it was your heartbreak, but bro, man, this heartbreak was really catchy. I love the beat.
Listen,
your heartbreak is our joy. Thank you.
It's all
yes.
One of you guys gonna take one for the team. Thank you.
I mean, you got paid from it, though, so you can't complain. It's still,
I love all the heartbreak songs.
People are like, yeah, we love the new song. Yeah, we love the new music. It's good. But when you gonna sing that song? When you gonna sing that one? When you gonna sing that one? So now I'm like, whoa, it's hard for me to go to be that person again. Man, I want that old. I want to go. Like, oh man, that's up there. So, well, but he's happy to sing it all the time, though. That's what made them famous, international, and everything. So the whole continent does that. I wonder if it's the same reaction for the French-speaking Africans, because they sang it in French. So I'm like, is that the same? Like, everybody's dancing. Like, oh, okay. But I mean, maybe I should have paid attention in French class. But,
real quick, it's funny because I follow a couple of Spanish Instagram or TikTok accounts, and the guy he actually translates the songs. There'll be some crazy stuff, but they're like classic songs.
Man.
And he has people dancing merengue to it or salsa to it. It's
my gosh.
It's like when you listen to it, it's like it's some crazy nonsense.
Yo, please do not break down any of the dance hall songs I like.
No.
Oh, you want to talk about songs that I literally was like, oh my God, like this song just like announced my death. I cannot believe.
Yes.
The funniest thing on Corey's point about the Spanish songs, it wasn't the same guy who breaks them. I think I've seen him on TikTok, but I saw this girl on Instagram Reels where she was comparing, like, my mom thinks that Bad Bunny is raunchy, and then she started playing like this classic song called "Devórame otra vez," and it's literally, I forgot. I think it's like it's about them having sex, and parents and grandparents, they like singing that shit like crazy. It's like, do you even think they talking about white sheets?
I saw that one. I know which one you're talking about. I know that one. I'm like, that's a classic song, yo.
It's a classic song, but the title means "devour me."
But that's what these folks need to learn when they write in joints today. Because I talk about this all the time. I'm like, you got Voyage to Atlantis and You Are My Starship. I'm like, those songs are like, you listen to them as adults, you're like, oh my.
Like Little Red Corvette,
all of the above. Exactly.
I think you got to remove Prince from this conversation from the beginning.
Right. They're all like that. There's gonna be a god of sex and all in the same song.
We were doing karaoke earlier today, and I was like, oh, I remember this song, and I'm like, oh, do you have the lyrics? I'm like, I didn't know those were the lyrics. We got my 9-year-old niece and my other sister. I'm like, huh.
You got us up here talking about you kids don't know the classics. He's like 10 years old. He shouldn't know the classics.
I'm not sure if this is like a well-known song. That song "Too Close" by the group Next.
That's a huge song.
I wasn't sure if it was like very well known, but when I was a kid, I was jamming to that. And then when I got to college, I put it on the karaoke machine. And my friends were like, "This is what you were jamming to at elementary school."
See, that was a song when I came on that, you was using the club. You was like, it's time to push up on something. As soon as he said the first lyric, you like, I'm just following the song.
Oh man, Santa was real. Some people won't be getting gifts.
That song got me. This is still one of my top songs, but now I know what it means.
That's right. Well,
Tasha, that reminds me of my days in Bentleys. Oh man, now I feel like an old man going back in memory lane.
The only difference was that mine got beat out of me when I was a kid. Right now, and I was singing "Girl, I Want to Make You Sweat, Sweat Till You Can't Sweat." They play that on the TV all the time in Nigeria. They don't expect children to sing it, and then my elder sister, who's the holiest person after The Holy Trinity. Saw me
They
one
set
day. I was
y'all up,
like,
Raphael. They were setting y'all up.
I was busy doing my house chores, just singing "Girl, I Want to Make You Sweat." I didn't even know the meaning of all that. What are you singing? I was like, "Oh, I'm singing a song." Yes, we'll sing it again. Okay, I'll sing it for you. Girl, I want to.
That was the setup. That was
Meanwhile, a Nigerian TV station is like, we're gonna do this again.
Yeah.
So I'm screaming, crying. God in that corner, I pray to Jesus and to forgive you. I'm like, what? What I do wrong? So I run to my mom and go complain to my mom, like, my other sister beat me. My mom was like, why? I was like, I was singing. So what song are you singing? They're like, yeah, kid, you don't even know that. You don't want to repeat.
Sing it again.
I repeat it.
Oh man.
Oh man! Every time I hear that song come up, I'm like, man, y'all got me beat up.
right.
I just send y'all a bill. What the hell? Oh man, it's music. But yeah. One day I thought my daughter was sleeping. The song came up on my YouTube. Let me just let it play. Then my daughter, hey, no, we're not All right, so let's see. Let's wrap up in about 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We've gone a little bit over. Let me let you guys go. So otherwise we're gonna spend 3 hours here. But yeah, so let's jump into books quickly.
Yay.
Let me just look at my phone.
Oh,
I know, right?
So I have my favorite. So this was the year of really good music books. Particularly, so there's my honorable mention is but it's really not an honorable mention. It's a great book. Shine Bright by Danielle Smith. Danielle is a legendary journalist, and she wrote this book about Black women in pop music. But what she did was she kind of told her life story through the years of these women and their songs. So she would dive into like the women's careers and then like flip back to her life. It's moving. Right? Because she would use her mom and the songs her mom played to kind of walk us through these life experiences and then tell the stories of the Black women that made the music, right? So great book. But my favorite book of the year is Dilla Time by Dan Charnas. This book is phenomenal. It explains why James Yancey, also known as JD, also known as J Dilla, why he kind of changed R&B music and hip hop in his time. The book is written in such a magnificent way to pinpoint this moment in time when he did this one thing that then people started to replicate or try and replicate. And it was like, and it describes why the man was great, because there'll be a lot of people who's like, Dilla, I don't get it. But what Dan does is like, here's why it mattered what he did. When you have jazz students, like the drums are here, the bass is here, the snare is here, but for whatever reason it all works, but they're all in a different time, and knowing that he programmed it that way. And it's like, so that he called it Dilla Time to express the idea that this Black man kind of changed the way we heard time. And when you hear Bob Power, who was engineering Tribe Called Quest, says in the book, when they first brought Dilla in, he was like, this is sloppy. I don't understand what's happening. But he was like, Q-Tip really was into it. And it wasn't until years later that Bob was like, I get it. I now get it. I didn't get it at the time, but now I get it. But anyway, great book. It's huge. It's comprehensive. He talks to everybody. Highly recommended. That's my book of the year.
I'm gonna check it out only because I think Dilla's overrated. But
this book will change.
I've never been. So he has songs that I like, and when I learn more about.
Yeah.
I forgot I got that.
Yeah.
You gotta remember, I'm a
You
rep.
forgot about him.
You know, but that's I'm gonna read. I'm gonna check it out.
Check it
because
out.
I think when somebody passes away, nobody wants to say bad things, or
Yeah.
nobody wants to have their opinion on the matter, and everybody starts gushing and, oh yeah, he was so great. This and I didn't understand, but now I do. And it's like, no, he had good joints, but he had a lot of sucky joints too. I'm
Well,
just gonna keep it real.
but I think that's true and with this book,
That's for every producer. You're gonna have
Right.
some good hit joints, but but some people I just think are just musical geniuses, and he's not one of them.
yeah, this book does. And what was so interesting,
It's
because
like
even
Kanye's not one either. You want to boo me on that one too?
No.
We were doing good.
Oh.
We didn't mention his name.
Kanye is trash.
Where's the
There's
where's the bull?
we have more problems with the Kanye thing. But what was so even when you read this book, that even comes up in this book, because he started. Yeah, there was a huge comparison, and at the time, he was literally like, "I'm going to show this dude the future." And so when his style changed, it was like literally in response to what Kanye was doing at the time. He was like, I'm going to show this guy what the future of this is now. But yeah, I'm going to stop talking. This is really good. I can't say enough about it. It's really good. It's good Black history. Go back music history.
I'm trying to look at my books to see which one I'm going to lie about that I read this year.
Which one did you read the cover?
I'm out here scrolling through Kindle trying to see.
I know.
All right, you guys want me to go? Why do you find your books? I can
Yeah.
All right. So thanks to the BPA, the Black Podcasters Association, we have a book club. So if you're a Black creative out there, or you're Black, a Black creative in the podcasting space, you want to work with people podcasting, content creating, you should think about joining, and I'll put the link in the show notes for how you can join. We also have a book club in there. So thanks to the book club, I got to read more books than I usually do. Otherwise, I would have been reading only comics. Like I'm a big comic guy, and that's books too. But one of the first book I read this year from the book club was the Sound Reporting, the NPR Guide to Audio Journalism and Production, and it still guides some of my, it helps me have like a little, it serves as a guide for some of the stuff that I do. And but the biggest influence from the books that I read was Propaganda, which was my favorite, because I thought I was just reading something that was going to speak about podcasting, but when I got into it, it was just bigger than podcasting. Was bigger than it was life in general, and I realized that even what I'm doing is also propaganda, and it's why it matters that the moment I start speaking into the mic, I start communicating with people, everything matters, and there are different types of propaganda out there. So it matters what type of propaganda you're putting out there, and it's not just only negative, only bad things. That propaganda, the positive propaganda is there too. So I think that's a book that I forgot who's the author of the propaganda was. Sound Reporting. Edward Renee. Yeah, that's propaganda. Yeah, that's highly recommended. And Sound Reporting is from the NPR Guide to Audio Journalism and Production. It's from Jonathan Kane. But I can't talk about books without going to my usual stuff. So I got some with me. I still need. I got a whole bunch of volumes to get through on my X-Men. I was reading Dawn of X. Yes, it's not from 2022. There's more stuff they moved on to. But I'm a big X-Men guy. I'll catch on. How to take a break to read real books. Not real books, like other books. Put it that way. Invincible. I got my Invincible. The first animation that has ever made me buy the comic. That's Invincible. So if you watch season 2 is coming in January on Amazon. Jeff Bezos, give if you're gonna spend that money, give creatives that money. Not only just people want to go to the moon, and I don't know if they want to do that. But there's one horror comic that I read, was recommended to me from Galaxy Comic. It's a small comic bookstore owned local store in Brooklyn, in my neighborhood, and Something is Killing the Children. Great book. It's highly recommended. I thought it had ended at volume 4, but there's volume 5 now, so I gotta read that. And one of my favorite artworks, Monstrous, from Marjorie Liu. I met her at Comic-Con this year, and she's an inspiration because she quit her law career to go start writing comics. So, excuse me. Then this comic book from Henderson, Garbett, Fabella, Boland. I think this one, if they ever convert this into an adaptation like TV or movie, the opening scene will just blow people's minds away. Skyward, the Black Girl Magic was in this, and whoa, that was it's great sci-fi here. Only 4 episodes, 4 volumes. Great stuff in there. Great story. I loved it. Smooth, easy.
Graphic trying to get some sponsorships.
Oh yeah, shit. I'm down for that, you know. And my two favorites.
Add them for those next volumes.
Bitter Roots. I'm not too happy with how Bitter Roots ended. Although technically they say it's ended. I gotta talk to Mr. Green, who I always talk to at Comic-Con. And he's one of the people who also inspired me for my podcast, because he had been talking to me about podcasting before I began podcasting. And there's an advice he gave me that I haven't still done yet. But this is coming on Netflix, and I talked to Mr. Green, who does the artwork, the drawings. He's done stuff for Marvel and DC, and I was with him when it was announced that Netflix was making a production and Ryan Coogler was on the team. Now I think Regina King is supposed to be directing. And the stuff he told me, but that was before Chadwick Boseman unfortunately passed away. So I won't go into that, but but this book is Harlem in the 50s, sci-fi in the 1850s. And man,
brother what?
No, Bitter Roots.
Oh, Bitter Roots.
Bitter Roots.
Okay.
It's it's in the 1800s, Harlem. It's great sci-fi, but it has the racism, all that is there. But you're gonna love it, like those black superheroes dealing with some crazy stuff in there. It's only 3 volumes. I was surprised they ended it at the 3rd volume, but you when you see the themes they were dealing with, you'll be like, impressive. Now, number 1 comic book of all time, Saga finally came out with volume 10. We've been waiting for 3 years. I got it. It's so good. I'll read it in the last 2 days of the year. I'll read it because it's so good. I can't touch it. So I got my volume 10. This is my favorite comic book of all time. Covers everything. It's from Fiona Staples and Brian K. Vaughan. And yeah, that's it for books. So yeah, I know it's a lot, but yeah. So that's enough time for y'all to have had your books out.
Yes,
that's what it was.
Right? You just
you did a whole infomercial. I'm about to be like, yo, you need to start a whole podcast on these books.
Yeah, I could because there's great stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
That'd be really good content.
Yeah.
And good for advertising and sponsorships.
Yeah, which I'm open to.
People to read,
It's very niche.
Yeah, because I know a lot of graphic novels and stuff, and I haven't really read many, like graphic novels and stuff, but I am in, of course, the BPA book club. I'm also in a Spanish book club with my girls in Boston, Las Sucias. So
wait,
Sasha,
it's called Las Sucias?
Oh, yes. I was going to say, so Sasha knows what that means, but I was like, oh, Corey does too.
I used to call my homegirl. I used to be Sucio, she used to be Sucias, so I know how that goes.
It's Sucias. So those
I might have to know the meaning now.
It means dirty.
Dirty girls. But, so yes, those books are usually a little spicy, but they generally are also by, Spanish authors or take place in a different, Spanish country or whatnot across the world. So one of the recent books from Las Sucias that I really enjoyed was The Inheritance of Orquídea Divina. and that is
Oh.
by Zoraida Cordova. And it's fiction, but it's kind of like historical fiction and mystery as well. So we always love a good mystery and sex, of course.
Hey.
Um, and another one that I read on my own that I enjoyed is also kind of sci-fi, but it's how long until Black History Month? No, How Long Till Black Future Month. And that one is by N.K. Jemisin, right? Yeah, Jemisin. And so that was kind of like a collection of short stories. So you could pick it up, put it down, listen to, like a Black spy in New Orleans and how, she helped to develop, different, like chemicals and bombs and stuff like that. Or it could be like this, evolution and survival in New Orleans after the floods and stuff. So it had a lot of topics and stories that were relevant, I felt like, to the Black community, Black culture, and just looking at some of these, science fiction stories from a different point of view that, we may not always have had, before that, I never really read and really saw yourself like in some of these stories. Then, of course, one that I read on behalf of the family because I said, "Oh, this is a great book. Everybody should read it." I don't think anybody else read it but me. But in the midst of my parents relocating from this lovely, blue state over to that other red state, downsizing and like even estate planning and thinking about everything you have in your house. They've been in this house that I'm in now for over 30 years. And so you could just imagine the emotions and the feeling of overwhelmed of having to, do you keep this? Do you get rid of this? Do you give this to that child? Do you like discard it? Do you sell it? Are you moving it with you when you go to a new place? So keep the memories, lose the stuff. That was written by Matt Paxton. And I really enjoyed the book. So I'm a planner, I'm an organizer. What I do for work, I do office space planning. I like event planning. So I love like helping out with Black, BPA, like, okay, what's the next event? When's the next party? What are we going to do? We need to do this, this, and that. Organizational structure, like these are things that I like and I love. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. So even him talking about different techniques or how do you talk to someone? Because it is almost like psychological, like, why do you need to keep this? Why do you need two pictures of me looking this way and then me looking that way? Like, really, come on, and photos are like the most difficult things. And my dad was a photographer. So there's tons and tons and tons. Even me, I'm probably gonna have to take a tote or two home with me because I'm like, I still got stuff here. Wow. But I found that was a really good book when, just taking a different way to look at what it is you have and what you're going through. And I can see how it could relate to work, how it can relate to family and children, and how it can relate to even podcasting, like compartmentalizing things and structure, so that you can flow in the way that you really want to flow. Figuring out the things that are most important to you that you want to keep and that you want to share. And then with Black Podcasting Association, I think it was the Stacey Adams book that we read.
Oh, yes.
That was phenomenal. I didn't really know her, but I loved the layout of the book and how she spoke about her experiences and how she connected with people. And so I thought that was a great book. That one was Lead from the Outside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great book.
Mm-hmm. And my girlfriends, we start each year saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to read 100 books." And da-da-da-da-da. I think I read 20 or 25, but
that's really good.
That's good. I'm like,
it's 24
honestly,
more than
I'm
I
an
did.
overachiever when it comes to books. So don't compare. I feel like people shouldn't compare themselves to my level of reading because I read consistently on the way to work, at home.
Wait,
before I go to bed.
Sasha, do you speed read?
No.
I just had to ask because I have a cousin who swears by speed reading, and forgive me, Jordan, I still don't understand what he means by that. But yeah,
No, I honestly,
Is he doing
on the
speed reading
train,
like
I'll
that
just be like
meme?
this on my phone.
The guy be like, blah, 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 blah.
Or is he like skimming?
No, all right.
First
I
draft.
I
just be
know.
scrolling.
He's
And
never
I
done
got
it
a
in front of me.
Kindle.
He's my English cousin, so yeah,
Um,
the ocean separates us. But when he came on the podcast, he said he's read how many books in a year, and I was like, okay, man, I believe you, man. You're
Yeah.
English for a reason. Drink some tea with biscuits.
Okay, so my top book from the BPA book club this year, I would say one that I didn't fully finish, but I really enjoyed it. Just a second, let me pull up the name because I can't. Shoot.
Oh, and
It was-
also my cousin is light skinned too.
Here we go.
Okay, so I'm gonna skip the book that I mentioned because I forgot the title and I forgot the author. So my second favorite book from the BPA book club was Sound Reporting that Raphael mentioned. I have a journalism background, so a lot of what he spoke about really spoke to what I learned in school and expanded upon it. So I learned a lot from the book. And then outside of BPA, I'm gonna mention two more books and then I'll be done because I don't want to go through everything I read. Another book that I read this year, let me see if I can scroll to it, was Purchasing Whiteness, Pardos, Mulattoes, and the Quest for Social Mobility in the Spanish Indies by Anne Twynham. It's a book that talks about the kind of gracias al sacar process in the Spanish Indies, which is where people who are like mulatto or like part black or would apply to the crown to have recognized benefits of whiteness. Some were successful, some weren't, most weren't, and it pretty much Anne Twynham goes through the documents and talks about each case of people who applied and what happened in their lives. And then one more book. Scroll. And okay, found it. This is more of like a sci-fi speculative fiction. A Master of Gin by P. Djeli Clark. It's an alternate version of Cairo in like the 1800s, kind of, where they have these advanced technologies. They have these supernatural creatures called jinn who live amongst humans. It's a very good book. It came out a little bit earlier this year. It has its own little universe with a novella and a short story prequel. It's a very good series. And the author is black.
Ooh.
All right, I got that down.
Yeah.
So
Taking some notes.
yeah, got some books that I'll have to add to my collection of books that I'll get to one day. But I'll buy them, but I'll still get to them one day. Yeah, I got a few books to read too. But yeah, so now the final topic, which is actually my favorite, is the one I like to call the official entertainment, which is TV/movies for 2022.
I didn't get to see my books.
Well, you read?
Uh.
I thought you said you didn't read. I thought it was
I
light skin.
read.
Oh, my bad. Oh, my bad. All right, I'll boom myself. I don't have a boom.
Gosh.
Sorry.
See,
All right.
light skin discrimination tonight.
All right.
That's
All
funny.
right.
We will
Yeah, we light skin brothers. We read. Should I find a Drake song about that too?
I have to offer that celebrity apology. I would like to apologize to anyone who I may have offended by, it wasn't my intention to offend the light skin caucus of, But yeah, go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
One of the books I read every year is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and it deals with notes on startups. It's based off of a lecture he did. Somebody put together these notes from the lecture, but it's on basically how startups work and how to capture market share and all that stuff. So these are principles I apply to the BPA and trying to figure out how to get BPA where it needs to go. And then this is the book that we started reading in the book club that I like, Talk Like Ted. Especially for someone who doesn't do well with public speaking.
Who didn't used to do well with public speaking.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks to Mimi and Afrika. I always gotta give y'all props for clowning me that day. Talk Like Ted. I haven't finished it, but as you can see, I've been making my notes and stuff. So I plan on finishing this hopefully by the end of the week. But I think as people in this space, this is an important book on learning how to talk and convey your message in a way that resonates with people. So, and since I've been told I'm the face and I got to do more and more front-facing things with the BPA, I got to get better at that. So I plan on finishing this book by the end of the week, before the new year.
Yeah. All right. We'll give
I
you.
still haven't finished it.
I haven't started.
I got a whole pack of a thing behind me right here where I got all the books from the BPA club that I started reading or I haven't finished reading yet.
You can do a lending library and let me borrow some.
Yeah.
I'm very, books are my addiction, so I'm very weary about giving my books out because I know there's a ton of books I have out there that people haven't given me back yet.
There are people who owe me books in Nigeria from when I was 15.
Yeah, I don't lend out. I barely lend out books. Because in college, a friend of mine lent me a book, which I ended up reading like 3 or 4 pages and I hated. And I forgot to give it back to her. And I had that book for like 2.5 years.
Oh, man.
Sitting on my shelf.
I'll do you one better.
But I gave it back.
I borrowed somebody. Someone came to our house for a housewarming at our former apartment. And she saw one of my graphic novels, which has an Islamic theme story, it's Islamic based, and she asked to borrow it, and I wouldn't see her for almost a year afterwards, and she still showed up without the book. But she was like, when you gave me that book, I was in a very dark place, and I was depressed and all that. I was even suicidal. I was like, well, I'm glad you didn't go through with all that, but I would have still loved if you give me my book. And she's like, well, that book saved my life. After reading that book, I saw that Islam was a great thing for me, and now I'm a Muslim. I was like, well, congratulations. Well, that wasn't what I was expecting, but I guess I converted her to Islam. And so when you gonna give my book? Oh, yeah, next time I'm coming to Brooklyn. She lives in Yonkers. Next time I'm coming to Brooklyn. I was like, you know what? The next day I went to the comic book store and bought another one. I was just like, that's it. And nobody borrows this book no more because I ain't converting nobody. Y'all got to borrow it. You gotta come talk to me about that. I didn't know that was convert people like that. But yeah. So everybody said their books and make sure you're good. Did I miss anybody? Nope. Going once,
shade.
Twice. Right. Do you guys read books multiple times or is it one and done? Because at least a couple of you said that you keep them and you collect them, but do you ever read it again?
I go back to there are some books I go back to all the time. Mm-hmm. There's some Baldwin's The Fire Next Time, like I read that a lot. The autobiography of Malcolm X, like I read that a lot. Yeah, there's a couple on my shelf that I'll like keep going back to.
I'm like, not many, but I'm really I would say I'm a basic person. Like my favorite book of all time is Pride and Prejudice, and I've read it so many times. My paperback copy, I had to tape it together. But I got a hardback, which I have yet to read. I just leave it pristine on the shelf. But yeah, I've read that book so many times. I've watched most of the movies of Pride and Prejudice, which do not live up to the book. And
I have a lot of business books, so I always go back and read them because they're always in a different mindset. But I have this weird thing where I remember what I read too, so it's weird.
Yeah, I think I remember what I read also, but I'm kind of a basic bitch when it comes to reading. So once I've read it, like even my favorite comic books, it's hard for me to go back to them. But if I love them, they're staying here. If I don't love them that much, I'm like, oh, my nephew in Nigeria, it's time for you to get these books. Here you go. Uncle loves you. If you listen to this episode, that's not why you're getting comic books from me. any other book. But that's Christmas time. That's why.
Mhm.
It's still love.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But you said TV and film.
Yes, for the final round.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, really quickly for me, it was a lot of good horror that I was really into this year. So actually, my favorite film of the year is X, and really, really dope. About a group of folks that go to a farm to film like a porn flick in like the late 70s, and
Got my attention.
yeah, and have to survive the owners, who are an elderly couple. It subverts every idea you have. Kid Cudi is one of the stars and one of the producers of the film. It's great. It's absolutely great. And
Wednesday.
The
girl who played Wednesday.
The girl who played Wednesday, yep, is in there. Really, really dope flick. So highly recommend X, and that's my favorite movie thing. My favorite TV thing was Stranger Things. So
I still haven't.
I finished it just recently.
Yeah.
I haven't seen.
I still haven't watched it at all.
No.
At all. Oh damn! I'm good. I'm in
Sasha, you need
honest. That's what everybody says. I've gotten along without
3.
Stranger Things in my life this whole time, so I'm
disappointed
not
you,
that
Raphael.
pressed about it.
Yeah, I think you'll enjoy it if once you get to it. There are some big pop culture holes. Like I didn't see Wakanda Forever. Like I had these huge.
Somebody help me find.
Y'all know how many things I'm doing. Y'all know all the stuff I'm doing. I just ain't had the time.
So you saw X, but you didn't see Wakanda Forever.
Because I saw X that came out earlier in the year. I was at a different point. It's been a very busy fall, child. We just rebranded Q Points. Like I've been very, very busy.
I've been busy too, J Ray, but I saw BP2 5 times already. So
okay,
I need electric pump. Yeah, I seen it twice. I was supposed to go the third time, and my daughter fell.
In my defense, I have the monthly pass, so I could go as many times as I want, and I'll be bored, so I just be like, "Yo, you want to go see it? All right, let's go."
Right?
No, why would you be hollering up at us when you go see these shows?
I go out to Long Island. I don't think y'all gonna come out there with me. So,
which one? Do you go to the Regal and Lindbergh?
Yes, I do. They know me there now.
My friend loves that Regal. Every time I go to the movies with her, she's all the way over there. I like AMC.
Well, I have the Regal pass, so that's where I go to the movies.
I got AMC Premiere Subs Premiere.
Yeah, I got Alamo, and it's. Yeah.
I like Alamo Draft House, but it's in Brooklyn, so.
Hey, they got one in Manhattan and one in Staten Island.
I will say that I did go to the downtown Brooklyn one to see Wakanda Forever. And it was nice. But the only reason I went is because I was going to a show.
Lost it for a second.
And go to Brooklyn.
Oh, we lost you for a second.
Yeah.
Oh. So I was saying there was no reason for me to go to an AMC in the city if I was going to be in Brooklyn. So I was like, Alamo Draft House is where I'm going to go to the movie.
Yeah. I went to.
But I'll go to my favorite. I did not finish this, but my favorite show for 2022 was Abbott Elementary.
Good stuff.
It was just lighthearted, feel good content. And I've always I've followed Printa Brunson's career since BuzzFeed days, so I was happy to see her get her flowers. And then movie-wise, let me just see. What was my favorite movie for 2022? I'm like, because I have this app called TV Time where I log everything, most things I watch, if I can find them on here. And it's not. The one thing I hate is that it's not showing me my favorite movies in. Wait, it should be able to show it to me in the order of them being released. But it seems like no, it's not. It's just showing me at random. Come on. They need to change this. Okay. Actually, it's not my top movie, but it's one of my top movies. Everything,
Everything,
everywhere,
all at
Yes,
once.
all
that's
at
my
once.
favorite movie for this year.
That was on my list.
That was an amazing movie.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
feel like I saw somebody comment that everything everywhere all at once did the multiverse better than Marvel does. And I was like,
Wow.
I see it. And that's why I like it.
It was a
Mhm.
great
But that's
movie.
two
That's my
different
movie.
things. I don't know why
It's-
people are
Yeah,
trying
it's
to
two
compare
different
both
things.
of them.
But
No,
It's not
the
the
thing
same.
is that they're not the same, but the concept of their multiverse is way more put together than the multiverses that Marvel or DC try to put. They're kind of
Yeah, but
haphazard,
they-
I would say at
they
best.
stretch it out over 10 years and a
Uh-huh.
whole bunch of properties, so it's gonna be hard to make it all mesh perfectly. You got 2.5 hours to do it. You can do it perfectly.
Yeah.
But it was a great movie. I think if she
It
doesn't
was.
win an Oscar, if that movie doesn't get Oscar nominated like crazy, it's a straight up robbery.
I know the
think
first round of Oscar nominations, it got it was one of the movies nominated for
Yeah.
some. I can't remember what it was, but something. It was one of the
It was a really
movies.
good movie. I
That's
like
my movie
Nope.
of the year.
Yeah,
I was like,
didn't
I
see
like
Nope,
Nope as
but-
well, but it's not my top.
I haven't seen that yet.
Nope
either.
was trash. Oh my god, it was
Oh,
terrible.
God.
I don't think it was
It was
honestly-
it was utter nonsense and it was
I
ridiculous.
feel like
Corey, go watch DJ Ben Amin and Tatiana King talking about.
No, I don't need to. I'm not.
Because they talked
No.
about you. They mentioned you specifically
They
today.
mentioned, what, as a hater? Is that what light skin hater?
They
Light skin devil?
mentioned
What?
you because they mentioned people who couldn't understand Nope, and I was like,
No. See, this is what. This is what.
hold on.
No. See, this is where I have a problem with this stuff because I watch movies.
I
I
know,
I live in the movie
but
theater.
you'll be hating on
study
some good
movies.
stuff.
No. It was terribly acted. It was a weak story, and the special effects were terrible.
Terribly
Yeah,
acted.
that's no
Oh my
effect.
Was that on
Yeah.
purpose?
Terribly.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't on purpose. It was budget.
I can't believe you when you go
Well,
terribly acted.
Yeah.
But-
Now that I think about it, I retract my thing. Because
What? You gonna let Corey?
No, because
don't
Kiki
let-
was being
don't let Corey
Kiki.
do that to
Let's
you.
just keep it real. Kiki was
No,
being
let
Kiki, and
Corey
the other
do
dude
that.
was being like,
Look at that.
I was like, is he retarded or something? Excuse me, is he slow or something?
Queen,
like-
Queens
It was thinking about them effects. I was like, that the whole
Listen,
effect of the
Jordan
alien
is-
was kind of.
He's the M. Night Shyamalan of black horror movies. Okay,
Oh my goodness! Oh, God.
I
had
know.
he hit you with a good. He hit you in the beginning with a good 1-2,
Oh.
and then everything just starts going.
man. Oh man!
Oh yeah,
I
think it's hard to say. I think it's hard to say. I haven't seen Nope yet, but I do think it's hard to. I don't think he's at M Night yet. M Night will not fool me again. Fool
Yeah,
me
never.
5 times,
Never.
M Night.
Never.
Well,
Shame on me.
Hold on. The Invincible trilogy, whatever that
I don't
trilogy
care.
you called it, that was good. But Mr.
Whatever you
Glass, all that,
say,
But-
the moment I see M Night Shyamalan's name and I just start saying, "Not today, Satan."
Not
No.
today. You gotta
I
rebuke it.
No,
Because the trailers will get you every time. You be like,
M.
"This
Night-
about to be
and that's
good."
what Nope did. Nope was all about the trailer. Nope was all about the trailer.
Movie, M. Night did that movie Old this
Yes,
year.
I haven't
He
even
did.
watched it yet.
I heard it was terrible.
It's M Night Shyamalan.
that dude
I saw
made
the
me
trailer
pay
and it looked
$2 to
interesting, but I
see
was like,
Avatar, and I was like, "That's
M. Night. I
I
don't
ain't forgiving
believe
you.
that's gonna be good.
Well, trust me when I say Jordan he's the black version of him. Nope was okay.
Even the alarm clock.
Even with the little rip off of Akira that had no point in being in the movie with the little rip off of the Akira motorcycle.
Oh,
scene.
my-
I was like, are you
Sorry,
serious? I was like,
sorry,
after all
you're-
this stuff
you're
that happened in this
judging.
movie, now you want to do this? It had
Alright,
no
we'll put
place
you
in the
timeout.
movie.
We'll put you in timeout. Let's hear from somebody who has much better taste.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my favorite movie was Everything Everywhere,
Man, this
and then my favorite TV show. Well, it's hard for me because Andor was wonderful.
yeah. Oh, finally, we're on the same page on
But for me,
something.
the heartbreaking TV show for the year for me was The End of the Expanse because that's one I think it's such a great.
Did that? I thought
sci-fi.
Expanse ended last year.
No, it ended this year.
Was this year?
It started late last year and ended in
Okay, yes, you're right. You're right.
2022.
That
I
was
haven't even
great.
finished season 3 of The
Great.
Expanse.
Man, that was some great shows that ended this year.
Yeah.
Great shows.
So that one hurt me bad because it was
Right,
it was probably one of the best sci-fi shows out there ever.
It's an amazing sci-fi show.
It is.
And then House of Dragon was really good.
Oh man. Oh, I gotta say, man, I don't see it the way I see it offline, but it's the show with they're giving everybody got black names and that shit. They know they're all black, man.
Well, you see what the Valerians look like. I was just telling my boy yesterday.
They finally
look like a Valerian, yo.
I mean, Damon, what's my man's name again? Amon. What's the other guys?
Damon, Amon, Raymond, Maymon, Saymon, Playmon.
I look at that. I look. I'm like, George R. Martin. We know what you be up to. You need a name. You're writing. Oh, I want a name. Oh, he just. I go to where the black people hang out. I got the
what's
names
amazing
now.
What's amazing about the whole Game of Thrones thing is how he's writing it as it's going along.
Wait, you think he's really gonna
That's
write
why season 7 of Game of
next book?
Thrones went the way it did because it was never written.
So you really think he's gonna write that book that he's been promising for how many years? That dude going, he's milking it. He's like, oh, you all love me.
He's writing it as he goes along. He's like, yeah,
he ain't writing that book.
Let's do that. Okay, let's do the episode.
He's not gonna write that book. He's telling you all, I'm writing that book. Y'all like, oh, when you gonna write, Judge? When you gonna write it, Judge? You're like,
back of the shows because the shows are out.
like,
He's like, okay, here's the script for the next movie. Here's the book.
Yeah. Keep making more shows.
I mean, I don't know how much money he's making off of them, but
I'm gonna write the book.
I don't know if I would write the next book because I'm making so much money off the series.
That's the point.
I'll just retire at this point.
He wrote the book. The book's trash. He gonna die.
George R. Martin is the J Electronica of.
Oh boy!
Wow, that's
This guy.
awesome.
Oh man, I don't even know
when is it coming out?
what button to play for this guy. I don't even know. I'm out of reaction.
Jay knows what I'm talking about. Like, when's it coming?
I know.
When's the album dropping? What's up? You got us all. I'm still waiting. I'm still a fan waiting.
It happens. We got something.
Well, Rihanna released music this year, so there's hope for the George R. Martin fans. Put it that way.
What about you, Mimi?
Me? So, I mean, I'm pretty basic. I love my like crime and mystery shows. But one of the most recent ones I saw that I thought was really good this year was Inside Man with David Tanning. David Tanning?
That's from the movie?
Oh.
No, it's I think it's a British. Is it? I think it's a British show. Let me see. There was one guy locked up, and he's like solving mysteries from the inside. And David Tanning is
on Netflix.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. It's like
I think I saw the trailer for that.
Yeah. I loved it. If it keeps me on my toes and keeps me guessing, because most of these shows, I'm like, oh yeah, this was the one who killed him. This is what happened. Like,
you like my missus. She'll be solving. She'll be spoiling stuff. Like, I'm like, God,
that's right. So don't put those off because we'll get away with it. Okay, we know how to do this, right? But
this will be edited out of the.
I mean, you have to prove it. You got to prove it. Like, you're never gonna prove it. I can't think of a movie. I don't know. I haven't gone to the theaters. I did go to see, Wakanda, but I don't know. I don't know of a movie that was really good. I was like, wow, awesome movie.
This year was kind of sucky for movies.
Yeah. I started everywhere at all times or whatever, but I don't think I finished it yet.
Curry, I thought Curry would be all about the man who saved the movie theater, Tom Cruise. Ain't that your boy?
I love Maverick, but everything was the best movie of the year that I saw so far.
Oh yeah.
So
I love Maverick. I don't really care about that.
But
the movie I care about is coming out next year. So I'm a Tom Cruise guy, but it's Mission Impossible. that I care more about. So. And he doesn't even need to release a trailer. He released the stunts video, and I was like, dude, I don't even need to watch 9 minutes of this. I just watched 2 minutes. And I'm like, I already paid. Take the money.
Just give me the date. I'll be there.
Just give me a video of you running. That's all I need. Tom Cruise running. I'm paying. You got me easy. I'm an easy guy.
I have a friend who hates us right now, Raphael, because of that. He hates Tom Cruise.
Man,
I don't like Tom Cruise.
Tell him I got tickets for him to join Scientology.
I told him I'm sending him tickets for Christmas to Mission Impossible.
I have not watched any of the I don't think he's interesting. I don't even think he's a good actor.
Girl, don't do that to yourself, please. Don't do that to yourself.
The Mission Impossibles are super fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I think, I enjoy a good Tom Cruise action flick. First of all, there's the mystique around, he does his own stunts, which is kind of fascinating to me.
That is fascinating.
And so that part, and then the movies are what they are. Like they are. It's like, listen, this is what you came here to see. You came here to see this formula. I'm gonna execute it. You're gonna be in.
Like, I'm agent. Give me the mission, man. Call me and give me a mission. As soon as you leave a Tom Cruise movie, you're like, what's the mission?
What's the mission?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm more of a John Wick movie.
I like John Wick too.
That's coming out next year too.
Yeah, John Wick coming out.
Yeah,
John Wick. I'm excited for that.
My man Donnie Yen in it.
Oh yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Fluctuate when it comes to movies because I'm a film major, so a lot of my tastes are very eclectic when it comes to films, to say the least.
All right.
What were you into this year?
Enough of this bougie people.
This year,
we don't need
honestly, a lot of it I watched was like superhero movies because of my
She watched friend, Black Adam.
But
that's what she's trying to tell you.
Another trash movie.
I took
so she listened to The Rock.
That
movie made a profit.
This semester I took a class called Cinema Aesthetics and Criticism, and we focused on American journalism in cinema. So I watched 14 journalism related films over the course of the last semester. Some were good, some were not.
Right.
Yeah, we watched at least every week or every 2 weeks. We watched at least 1 to 2 films. I would say my top film out of what I watched for class was probably All the President's Men was really good.
Oh, that's a good movie.
And then there was a film called, I think it was actually not. There's another older one that I really like. Oh, Good Night and Good Luck by George Clooney about
yes.
Oh, I never saw that.
That one was about Edward R. Murrow, the journalist, journalism god, pretty much, and his reporting of pretty much taking down Senator Joseph McCarthy back in the 50s, and that kind of just exposed the corruption and how crazy that whole House of Un-American Activity Committee was, the whole Red Scare. It was an amazing movie. I didn't really know much of George Clooney's producing work or directing work, and that I was like, maybe I'll watch more of his films because it was really
he got some good movies that I've seen. I don't think I've seen a bad movie from him.
One of my favorite movies is the one about Nixon.
From George Clooney?
No. But Frank Langella when he played Nixon. About the whole interview.
Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of
any other day. Frost Nixon, the movie Frost Nixon.
Oh yeah, that's
I always use that. So when I talk to people about podcasting, I tell them to watch that movie because it shows you how somebody who was out of his depth was interviewing someone who was kind of manipulating him, and then how he had to figure out how people, how he was playing it safe in the interview, and people wanted to hear Nixon admit that he was guilty, and then the whole ordeal between the two of them and how he eventually, the whole researching and all that stuff. But I like the end because the climax of the movie is about the whole battle between him in the interview and trying to get, Nixon is so smart he was manipulating the conversation, and then the interviewer who's Frost was the battle between the two and how he actually got Nixon to finally open up and admit what everybody wanted to hear, and it became one of the biggest interviews ever. So, but it's a good movie to watch. It's really good.
All right, so mine is I'll be quick with mine. As usual, they're going with Marvel stuff in there, but let me start with the TV side. TV side, it was great to see my best TV. It's tied. My best TV shows for the year all began with letter A. Atlanta came to an end, and I got to just say, man, that's the best writing there. The best writing in TV, because a bunch of people watch that and it goes over their head, like, well, what the hell is all this? And like, man, the way those guys break down stuff, you can watch that from episode 1, season 1, to the last episode. You're like, man, this is chef's kiss and all that good French stuff. I don't know what they call it, but it's just Donald Glover and Stephen Glover. That's a great creative team. Andor, oh man, that show. I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do.
Andor, you're talking about
Star Wars.
Yeah, what is it? Oh,
Star Wars.
It's about Cassian Andor from Rogue One. The Rogue One movie.
If you haven't watched the whole all the other Star Wars stuff, that's fine. You can watch Andor.
Okay.
Rogue One.
You can watch it without watching any of this stuff.
Yeah, Rogue One is the most important thing tied to.
You can watch the series without watching Rogue One.
Yeah, but that's the only thing that because it's Rogue One is the end of Andor. So
don't spoil
that's show. That's man. It's like when people there's a lot of talk online, in the Nigerian space. There's a lot of people pushing for revolution. Yeah, we need rebellion and all this. And I'm like, how many of you watch Andor? And they're like, what is Star Wars? I'm like, you guys need to watch this, because one scene where the guy asks the rebel leader, what have you given to the cause? And when that guy starts speaking, and you're like, damn, this speech, who wrote this? Who wrote this? And the final episode, the speech at the final episode, I actually found out that they changed. That's where she said, fuck the empire. They changed that to fight the empire. That speech is so powerful. You're gonna want to fight somebody owe you money. You're gonna be like, man, I'm going, yeah. It's so pumped. But that show, if you've been oppressed, if you've been colonized, if you're from one of any oppressed societies, that's your show. And it's a Star Wars show. But there's no Jedi. There's no lightsabers. There's no magic. None of that good. This is as real as it gets. And a friend who I've connected through content creating, he's from Algeria. He actually shared an article with me about how Andor speaks to the Battle of Algiers, because Algeria is one of the countries on the African continent that had a very bloody independence from France. And the article, it's like when the Andor did a great, and I don't think the Andor guys, I'm not sure if they were talking about Algeria, but that's how many people from around the world relate to this show. So I'll be having him later on. We'll have a discussion about Andor, why he loves it so much. One other show I would just love to give a shout out to, two others. Well, one or two actually. But Jack Reacher. Hey, they finally got a Jack Reacher that was like, oh, they got a big guy to be Jack Reacher. And he was like Jack Reacher from the books, literally lifted up from the books. I love Tom Cruise, Jack Reacher. Don't get me wrong with that. But Tom Cruise wasn't huge. This guy was like literally the whole mannerisms, everything. I was like, this is a real Jack Reacher right here. That show it's a good time. It's a good time. It's not it's not as deep as it gets. You don't really need to go that far, but it's a good show. I just finished The Peripheral on Amazon. That show is deep. It's deep. AI, gaming, some stuff that futuristic, man. They mess like veterans. It's wild. It's wild. I need to go back and watch it all over again because it's wild. She-Hulk. I love She-Hulk. The end messed with me. Miss Marvel was my favorite Marvel show of the year. Moon Knight. I was glad to see Moon Knight finally. I got great soundtracks from all those shows, all the shows. But the favorite comedy, I know Abbott Elementary is cool. It's great casting. But there's one show that beats Abbott Elementary. And season 3 came out this December. It's called Southside on HBO. If you ever watch Southside and you're still sad at the end of an episode, man, something's wrong with you. Just go get yourself checked out. Go straight into a mental institution. Check yourself in, because that show, I'm just like, God damn, who writes this? I'm just falling down laughing. I'm just like, yeah, you just gonna be laughing. They're too good. They are too good. It's as black as it comes. They're too good. It's really crazy comedy. On the movie side, I saw Glass Onion last night. It's now on Netflix. I wish I had gone to the theater to see that.
That was a good one.
Ryan Johnson followed up on the first movie. What was the first one called again?
It was just Glass Knives.
Knives Out.
Knives Out. I'm sorry.
Knives Out.
Yeah, Knives Out. Sorry.
Yeah, he followed up with an excellent sequel to Knives Out. Prey. I think that's the best Predator movie. Now, that's for me. That's yeah.
No movie would be better than the first one.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, no. Prey is real good.
Prey.
I'm sorry. Not the all-star cast that Predator 1 had. It's never.
I know.
Bitch.
Steroids, and all that. Yeah,
steroids era. You can never beat that with Jimmy.
All right. Okay, when you win the Couriers, yeah. But a movie that gave me a fun time is now on Netflix too. Bullet Train. You know, that
Bullet Train was great. I saw that twice.
Good action. I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it. It's not, it was good action. I was entertained from beginning to the end. You don't fall asleep on that movie. Wakanda Forever.
You're a diesel, by the way. You're a diesel, by the way. You're a diesel.
Oh.
Wow. That's a low blow, man. That's a low blow. That's a low
blow. Below the belt all night.
Right.
Yeah.
You see, you can't even trust them light-skinned brothers. Oh, man.
Do that.
Oh, man. I'm a diesel. Okay, but oh well. Brian Tyree Henry. What's his last name? Henry. He's great as Paper Boy on Atlanta and in Bullet Train. I was like, man, he British. Wow. He was killing it. He came with a British accent, and I was like, well, look at that. Black American with a British accent. Why can't he do this?
Actor. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he's fantastic, man. Even in Eternals, he was solid.
Great in Eternals.
So, he was great in Eternals. Eternals wasn't the greatest, but he was good.
It wasn't the greatest, but that's a movie I still enjoy. But
I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't watch it again.
Oh yeah, I've watched it a couple of times. Wakanda Forever, man. I read the article yesterday where Ryan Coogler talked about what the original plan for the first movie, what they were going to do with T'Challa and his son, because he would have discovered he had a son after coming back from the blip, but Nakia would have married and moved on. Now, if you haven't, if you haven't watched Wakanda Forever, don't. Yeah, well, that's not a spoiler. That's not a spoiler anyway, because that's not the movie. But he would have come back, and Nakia would have been married, and she would have married a Haitian dude, and he will come back 5 years later and discover that he has a child, and it's like, wow, that would have been interesting to see how that movie would have. He's now trying to build a relationship with the child. It was Haitian and all that. That was the original plan, and then Chadwick died. And they now they had to come up with a new story, and that's what you have as Wakanda Forever. And I was like, wow, that team, kudos to that team, respect. And Talokan, they brought something new to the table.
It was a great soundtrack.
Oh man, the soundtrack is fire. I already got the songs. I got 2 posters thanks to DJ Benjamin and Tatiana King from For All Nerds podcast. They had a great event. If those guys are hosting an event, please go attend it and support them. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think I've praised that movie already. That movie is I think that's my official number one movie of the year. The Woman King gave me a great time. I loved it. Loved it. I don't care about any controversy. But there's one movie that I wish I had seen in the theater. I saw it on Netflix. I thought I was gonna watch 30 minutes because I saw it's about 4 hours. So I was like, oh man, I ain't doing no 4 hours. It's almost nighttime. I gotta go to bed. And then I ended up watching the whole movie. I went to bed like 1 day. I was like, dang, this movie is good. I was like, whoa, doing the dance too. Man, R. It's already been nominated for the Emmys. It's been nominated for Oscars. Whatever you're doing with your life, go watch that movie. That movie got everything. The Indian action. Woo! Bollywood came through. Yes, it's not the best Indian movie of the year. I know some Indians going to get mad. Dog, I get it. You guys got some
Native Americans?
No, India. It's India versus Britain in the movie. This is the Brit. Oh man, you got everything.
What happens when you grow up in Queens?
Right.
You hang out at Indian bars.
Hey man, this movie got everything. This is the action. I was like, wow, like
3 hours and 5 minutes.
And I'm never watching no Bollywood movies. I've made that mistake once and never will do it.
Trust me.
And it was good, but it was long.
The closest I will ever enjoy to a Bollywood movie is Life of Pi.
I watched what's it called? White Tiger. I watched White Tiger.
No, it's not.
That's my Bollywood movie.
That's my point.
You did not watch White Tiger on Netflix?
I don't watch anything. No. I get mad that it shows up on my Netflix at all, but considering where I live at,
listen to the algorithm.
It's regional. I can't help it.
Netflix knows that you need some spice in your life. You need that real spice.
I get enough spice in my life.
No,
I hang out in plenty of.
That's why.
I hang out plenty of bars in this area, in different neighborhoods.
High from you right now. So go watch RRR. Great entertainment. Great. The movie gets better as it goes along. I'll watch
it one day.
The opening scene, oh man, that action there. I was like, God damn. Oh, now some Indians gonna be right to me and be like, hey man, why you gonna promote that movie? And all this. Forget about that, dude. I've seen movies from everywhere.
Is this the one where there's like a tiger and he was running and then the tiger dipped on? Oh no, I'm not watching that. I'm sorry.
Dude, that's not the beginning.
You already promised, Corey. Come on.
I saw that and I was like, nope.
It's already been nominated for the Oscar. It got an Oscar nomination.
Oscar, this year's week for movies for Oscars.
It's not weak.
It's a weak year for movies.
From Pakistan.
Extremely weak.
Joyland from Pakistan has a trans actor in it's a trans story in Pakistan. There's a Tanzanian movie even nominated, and there's so much. But that's my movie. That's my movie.
Right.
That's the only movie I've been challenged Wakanda forever.
Podcast for me to say what I was about to say.
Yeah, that you don't want the Indians and Pakistanis.
I'm putting myself on mute before I slip up and say something.
Yeah. Put yourself on mute.
Yeah, I think maybe you're all just a little fatigued right now. So
we are. But I think this is the longest recording I've ever done, so we should end it here. But thank you all for giving me your time and on this Christmas Eve. I know my kid is angry upstairs because in Germany we open presents on Christmas Eve, so she's like, why the hell this old man?
Waiting, like, hello.
Yeah. So
we do the same thing in our house.
Oh, you do the same thing? Oh, please. So please let people know where they can find you one more time. And let's we'll wrap it up.
All righty. Well, I started off, so I'll go. Again, I'm Improper Mimi. Mimi Jax is your host. That's me. You can find me Apple Podcast, YouTube, and everything on social media is Improper Mimi.
That's right.
And go ahead, Sasha.
I think I went next when we first started, but you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok at Sash Marguerite. My podcast is Cozy Chat Podcast. You can find us at Cozy Chat Pod on Instagram. And I'm always popping on the TikTok, so follow.
All right.
Get those
I have that in the show notes. Yep.
Love it. And y'all can find me, y'all can find the podcast at Q Points Pod everywhere. And you can just check us out on our website, qpoints.com. And if you just want to like connect with me, you can follow me at JRay is the name everywhere on the socials as well. Thanks for having me, Raphael.
Always.
Oh yeah, thank you, Rafael.
Sorry, where can I find you? I think I'm
One,
losing my
thank you,
voice.
thank you for having me, and it's always a pleasure talking with my peoples from the BPA.
Hey,
You can find me on our socials, the Black Podcasters Association. It's different spelling, so just go to your favorite platform, type in Black Podcasters Association, and you should see our account come up. That's the best way to reach me. Is through one of those accounts. Don't send any hate mail.
Yes, don't do that. Don't do that. New Year,
you're doing something right if you got haters. Hey.
choose happiness.
You're doing something extremely wrong. Platform you're on.
But anyway, as my people will say, umbana, and as my wise people say, dankeschön for giving me your time. Really appreciate it. And much love to all of you. And for everyone listening, hey, you know where to find us. Keep bringing the love, sharing, and give us donations including cash, 5 stars. Share with your friends. Don't keep this podcast to yourself. Don't be selfish. Why do that to yourself? It's a new year, new you. Make it your New Year's resolution, and don't break it. All right. Thank you for the privilege of your company. I'll see you at the next episode.
Bye.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays.
Happy
holidays.
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening to White Label American. If you enjoyed the show, we'll appreciate if you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast from. If you have any questions, comments, or have someone who will be a good guest on the show, or you want to be on the show, send us a message at whitelabelamerican@gmail.com. And make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at White Label American. Thank you for your support.